2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2. Two. Ah. Hello, good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, wherever you are. Let me just close the door. So, right, I'm a little bit late, so I'm just adjusting a couple of things, and we'll get started in a moment, but I just wanted to say hi. The beauty of technology. Right, okay, so, what is going on with my hair? So, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is JP, welcome to John Paul Music UK. We are currently on, where are we on? We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitch, and we're now on LinkedIn as well. So if you want to obviously say hi, we have a chat that is what we call a multi-chat. So I can see the chats from all the locations, no matter where you are saying hello from, which is great. This is basically all about learning to loop with JP and the Boss RC-600. It's on the floor, and I've just set it up now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be switching between this camera and this scene. So on the floor right now is my Boss RC-600, and it's a little bit blurred out, but I hope you guys can see it all okay. And then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be basically doing a couple of things. First of all, what I want you to do is let me know if the volume is okay. So if anyone's watching this right now, please let me know if the volume is all right. And then what we can do is we can get started. So, what we're going to do is... There we go. Right, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Hopefully you can hear all that, and it's all good. Sound is okay here. Thank you, Jan, that's great, lovely, fantastic. Right, I just need to do one more thing, and then we'll get started. Just the wonder of multiple screens and technology and everything else. So yeah, just need to check, make sure that's working. Cool, it is fantastic. Right, so let's, without further ado, I can't speak today. We'll go through the setup, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to play a couple of songs. I'm only going to play bits of songs because what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I loop them. I'm not going to go through the whole song or anything unless you want me to, and that's fine. I can do that. But the aim of the game today is basically to show you how I loop with the RC-600. I did its first live gig in a pub. It was really nice to play on Friday, which was really nice, and it was out in the wild, and it was flawless. It performed flawlessly for what I needed to do. The only errors was me being a bit rusty in a live environment, but I don't think many people noticed. But it was just a couple of button presses that I did, and that's it. A couple of caveats. First of all, you'll hear this microphone, and this microphone is going through my system, so there is a little bit of a reverb there. I can turn that reverb up, so we can have it a little bit more flat if you want. Hopefully that is. But the reverb is actually coming from the output of the RC-600, and it's also coming from the TC Helicon Voice Live Play acoustic, and I'll go into that in a second. So without any further ado, my setup. So what you can see right now is the RC-600, but actually just over here, pointing with my foot, is a TC Helicon Voice Live Play acoustic. Now the reason why I use that is because I have a guitar and my microphone plugged into it. I've always used the Harmonies system on that, and I've also got a couple of effects that I've dialed in really nicely for me, and it'll take me quite a while to transport that over to the RC-600. Eventually, I would like to just have the RC-600 and that's it, but at the moment I'm sticking with that because I had a gig and I didn't want to spend hours kind of obviously moving the effects over. I'm using some of the effects on the RC-600 as well, so that's all good. And then obviously there's a couple of things I'm doing. So I want to show you that first of all. And please, obviously, if you think that the sound is too low or it's too loud, please let me know, because obviously this is a live stream and I want you guys to obviously let me know in the chat. So I'm just going to grab the guitar and try and find where the capo is. Oh, it's over there. Now, the first thing for those who already have an RC-600, or you've been thinking about one and you've been looking at the inputs, you'll notice that I haven't got a jack input at all. Both of my inputs are XLR. So I'm actually using input microphone number 1 as the microphone, but input number 2 is actually the guitar, because it's XLR out on both. Good morning from Florida. He said, it must be very early in the morning. So we're looking at what, 7? 8 o'clock. Anja, hello, good morning, how are we doing? By the way, Jan, good morning. Thank you also for letting me know the sound's okay. So yeah, basically what I'm doing at the moment is I'm using the XLR inputs. One is for the microphone and one is for the guitar, because the guitar's actually jack, but then the output of the TC Helicon is actually XLR for both. And it has an option to do dual, basically where one is the vocal and the other one is a DI. So it's actually being DI'd in to the microphone number 2. And then obviously not turning on things like 48 volt phantom power or anything like that. So you'll notice that the actual guitar is not plugged in by the jack inputs, but it's plugged in onto microphone number 2. This is really handy because if you're only using one microphone, you've actually now still got 4 inputs to plug in keyboards, drum machines, whatever you want. I am a solo artist and I just basically play with the guitar and sing. I don't have any other instruments. I did mess around a little bit with plugging in an iPad and using like some chords and stuff, but I just found it's easier just to play like this. And I'm also not someone who massively uses the rhythm section of loopers beforehand, but I'm getting to actually use the RC-600 a bit more now. And also I found something out about the RC-600, which is you can play the individual drum beats. You can play the kick, the snare, the hi-hat if you have something that you needed to play with, and you can do that all through MIDI. So I've been looking at a couple of things, and I'm not going to be showing you that today because I haven't got that set up, but you'll also notice as well that on the left-hand side just here is a FS7 pedal. Someone was asking me what was the difference between an FS7 and an FS6. They're basically the same. It's just that the pedals are side by side, and the other ones, the pedals are top and bottom. So for space, I prefer the FS7 pedal because I can slide it in between the TC Helicon and the Voice Live Play Acoustic. Sorry, the TC Helicon Voice Live and the RC-600. So sorry, it's sunny and we're in Britain and it's sunny, so of course the sun's gone straight to my head. You'll also notice as well that the other plug-in is this. This is my volume expression pedal, and the reason for that is actually it's set to the volume of the loops and the loops only. So even if all the loops are going and I pull this down right now, you can still hear me, you can still hear the guitar, and then I can drop it back on. So I can do my own fades, which is really, really nice. I can fade out and fade in all the loops, but also I could drop it out for a second and bring it back for a second, which is a really neat trick. So that's actually set up with an assign. So you actually turn off. I plug that. Sorry, I'll go back again. I'll plug it in. You plug it into. It's actually plugged into Control 1, 2, Expression 1, and turning that off on the settings, but then on the assign, you assign the expression pedal to the volume of the loops. Then also you can assign how much volume. So the minimum is 0, but the maximum isn't 100. It's 95%. That way, the loops are never louder than this microphone and the guitar. And then that's really handy in a live environment, a pub environment. You go from place to place, and then you've got different sounds. You can just drop it down a little bit, or you can bring it back up again. And then obviously when everyone's jigging away, you whack up to full volume. So that's kind of the caveats. The other thing that's plugged into the RC-600, which is just there, is actually a WIDI Master MIDI controller. It's a Bluetooth MIDI controller. I'm not using it at the moment. That's what I'm testing things with without having to use MIDI with cables. And then finally, the other thing that's plugged in just there, the grey square box thing, that's actually USB. So that's how you're hearing me right now. It's all coming through from USB into the Mac right now, so you can hear it, and I'm going through OBS and then straight out to all these different places. The other thing as well, before we get started, this live stream is sponsored, and it's sponsored by our good friends over at DistroKid. So DistroKid is a music distributor. If you don't know what that is, when you create a tune, then what happens is when you create, what was that? Sorry, let's have a look. When you create, I'll answer that in a second. When you create a tune and you want to get it out there to sort of Apple Music and Spotify, you need a music distributor. So that's what DistroKid is, and they are very graciously sponsoring this video. There's a link in the description box on both Facebook and YouTube. I don't know if it's sitting on Twitch. I hope it is, and also LinkedIn. So if you click that link, we can actually give you 7% off your first annual membership. So they actually charge you per annum, and instead of per release, which is really useful if you've got loads of releases. So it starts at $19.99. What is going on with my hair? And then we can give you 7% off the first annual membership. So please have a look at the link, and obviously that helps me out if you do sign up and helps this channel keep going. But also at the same time, it's going to help you, isn't it? I mean, if you're going to release a load of music, then it's a way to do it. Right, moving on. So, trying to play Dadgad on a guitar that's not on Dadgad. Right. Thank you, DistroKid. Check out later today. Right, sorry, we're switching from mobile to Mac. Hope I didn't miss much. Which mic are you using, if you don't mind me asking? Right, now, that's a very good question. So for live use, I used to have like SM58s, SM57 betas. I've had a £250 microphone, which was very expensive, but very good. And then someone spilt beer on it. Yeah, so this is actually the Fifine K8 microphone, which has got basically quite good like rear noise rejection. So if you've got a load of people obviously in front of you, it doesn't pick it up quite a lot. And the price of this microphone is about £30. I'm not joking, it is really, really cheap, and it's actually quite good. I've actually got 3 of them, because if I bust this, yeah, ouch, yeah, it was an ouch moment. You make money on a gig, and you go, I'm actually down on money? Great, thanks. So from that point on, I was playing around with a Fifine K6, and it's kind of like a SM58 copy, as it were, but it's all right. It's okay for like their reducer there, but the K8 metal construction, and then has an off-on switch here, which is very useful. Turn that off in case someone decides to grab your microphone whilst they might be inebriated. But also at the same time, it actually sounds it's got quite a sensitive capsule, which is quite good. So I use that quite a lot. Well, I used it exclusively, to be honest. And I've got, as I say, I've got 3 of them. So should I bust one of these, there's another one in my bag over there, and I can just take it out and put it out and then go, okay, it was 30 quid. It's not like £200 or even 130 quid for an SM58. So yeah, that's what I use, and I only use one microphone for both looping and singing as well. I know people do like dual microphones, but I also sing with Harmonies, so I need that to go through the looper sometimes. I sound great. Cool. That's really nice of you. Thank you. So there's 2 things going on to basically enhance this microphone. The first thing is it's going into a TC Helicon Voice Life Play acoustic, and of course there's a couple of sounds it does. It also does the thing called body res for the guitar to make it sound a bit sweeter. Then that goes XLR for both of them. So XLR and XLR out, and I'm using the XLR mic 1 and 2 for both the guitar and the microphone, as you can see just here. The other thing on the RC-600, you may have noticed that it actually looks a little bit more colourful than usual, and that's because I've got some pedal stoppers. So you can see them here, like it's got them in green and blue, and I just decided to put them in a rainbow colour, why not? And it's just a way of obviously being able to hit it. When I'm wearing shoes like this, which are kind of like rubbery shoes, sometimes it goes into the rubber, so it's actually not like a fully hard sole. So this really, really helps, or if I'm wearing harder shoes, it's fine. But it's just a little bit more pedal area that you've got a chance of hitting it, or not obviously hitting it wrong. So yeah, so obviously the thing I want to do is I want to show you a couple of things. So first of all, I'm actually going to just grab a capo because I need it for this first song. Excuse me. Have you got any problems using MIDI with the RC-600? Bruce, first of all, good afternoon into the UK or wherever you are. Good morning and good evening. Yes and no, but it depends on what you're doing. So at the moment, I'm doing 2 things. I'm actually playing around with the Morningstar MC8 to actually expand the pedal functionality, and I'm testing that at the moment. I haven't found that I've needed it at the moment, to be quite honest, because of all the different assigns you've got, and I'll go into that in a minute. But the other thing I've been just testing it with as well is actually basically a MIDI drum pad. And there's a couple of things you can do. You can actually play the drums of the RC-600, which is kind of cool, and then you could loop that as opposed to using the rhythm. You're just using the drums from the drum kit. Or what you can also do is you can trigger things. So you could trigger basically things just like a button, but you really have to set that up. I'm actually using the MIDI Master jack, which is just here. I did a review about it on my channel if you want to go and check it out. I also did a review of this microphone quite some time ago now. I love it. I think the MIDI Master is fantastic. It basically is an in and out that's Bluetooth, and it's up, I think it's as low as 3 milliseconds delay. I've actually used it with the iPad. The iPad's just here, by the way. I've used it with the iPad, and I can control things on it, basically, and I think that's the way I might end up going, where I've got basically an app that I can control, but also I might want to have a keyboard and plug that in and play it. So that might be an audible thing. I don't know yet. I'm not too sure. I mean, I'm literally, I always, the history of me playing live is guitar and vocal, but then I'm also always testing things of like, should I bring in a keyboard? Should I bring in this? Should I bring in that? And I know people have massive rigs with a loop pedal at the center of it all. I don't want to carry it all around. I'm in my 40s. I want to make sure that basically this is as small as possible. I actually have this amazing pedal board, by the way. This pedal board is actually 1 meter long. So there's actually stuff off the side here. I've got all my power on the side. I've got this over here. And it's by Swan Flight. So if you ever want to look at Swan Flight pedals, well, they're Swan Flight cases, actually. But they do pedal boards. And it was the only one at the time that I could find that would fit the Headrush looper board, which I still have, by the way. Yeah, it's basically all these little things that add together. And then I took the Headrush looper board off and then put the RC-600 on. I was like, damn, it's like 1/3 of the size. So yeah, really, really useful. But I'm looking maybe potentially of getting a smaller pedal board. Anyway, moving on. So I'm going to go on to the first song. Let's have a quicker look at this. Hold it. Always enjoy your hard work at sharing your findings. Greetings from North Carolina. Hi. Good morning. Good morning. I'm saying good morning on a Sunday morning. I hope it is. It's lovely and sunny here in the UK, so I decided to do a live stream indoors on a Sunday afternoon. But it's all fine. It's all good. So guys, I hope you're all doing well. And as I say, I'm just going to take a sip of water because I've been talking non-stop for like 15 minutes. Well, it's juice, actually. It's just like raspberry juice. Might grab a beer later, but at the moment, just squash. So what I'm going to do is, obviously, I'm going to keep the RC-600 basically on the floor here, and I'm going to show you 4 songs. So 4 songs that I play live. I play them live all the time, and I'm going to show you how I loop them. I'm not telling you how to loop them, I'm just showing you this is how I do it. And there's loads of different ways you can do it. So let's go into the RC-600 right now. So you'll notice, I hope you can see it, that basically on the screen it says 001. This is the first memory. The memory, the way it's set up, is exactly the way it is out the tin, sort of. So the pedals, I actually haven't changed on the bottom row. So you've literally got loop 1, loop stop, loop 2, loop stop, loop 3, loop stop for 3. And then I've got literally, we go over 4, 5, and 6. And then what I've done is on the actual effects, which is on mode 3, I've changed it. So you can see in front, well, you can't quite see it on there, but if you have a look at an RC-600 on the actual pedal, it actually says input A, B, input C, and it says track A, B, C, and you've got half speed, and then you've also got all start, stop. Sorry, I was away from the microphone there. I hope you still heard me. So what I've done is I've changed it. So basically the first 4 are actually input A, B, C, and D, and then these 4 here are actually track effects A, B, C, and D. So I've got A, B, C, and D. So on mode number 3, I cannot stop the loop. I'm not on all start, stop. And the way you change these is you can actually go into menu and then scroll across one, and then you'll actually see modes, and you can actually go into modes. I think there's a deeper way into that. Sorry, I'll have to show you it. But you go into menu and you can change it in modes. However, the other caveat with that is that I actually have the RC-600 set up so it's changing per memory. So I haven't got it so all 99 memories, all the pedals are the same. My pedals are different depending on which memory I'm on. So for example, if I was to change that from the first memory, I'll have to bend down now, over to memory number 2, you'll see memory number 2 is called JP single mode. And what that means is basically that I've actually got all 6 of these on mode number 1 are an individual track. So now it's it's track 1, track 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and they're all like a one pedal looper. You have to double tap it to stop it, but the great thing about that is that I've actually got this moved across. So in single mode, what I've done is I've actually changed it again. That's what you'd normally do, but I've actually changed it again. So these two are actually multi. So these two are my rhythm, and then what I've done is I've left 2 of them alone. So track 1 and 2 are in multi mode, and then these 4 are in single mode. So intro, verse, chorus, whatever you want, outro, something like that. I might not use all 4, but I could do it. Depends on the song. But the idea behind it is if I stop these are still going because these are the equivalent of my rhythm. I don't use the rhythm section of the RC-600 as much, and I'm starting to use it now because that's why I really want to use the FS7 pedal to actually start and stop the rhythm, and change the rhythm tempo. But these two, I do a lot of beaty boxy noises. I never consider myself a beatboxer, but I do a lot of noises and go boom, and all that kind of noises. And that's what I record on these two. So what I'll do as well is I'll record like a right, on track number 1, but then I'll record the on track number 2, and then I can take the hi-hats off when I'm doing verses, and then bring them back when I'm doing chorus. It just adds another element. It's like an undo redo on a track, but actually I've just split the track into 2, because you've got 6 loops. You can do it whatever you want. So the other one is JP Multimode. So JP Multimode is exactly the same. All 6 of them are literally track 1 to 6 on mode 1, but they're actually all multi. So they're all in multi-mode, so I can record as many as I want, and I don't have to change modes. I don't have to change modes to get to tracks 4, 5, and 6. The way you change all this, I've shown obviously a video about how you can change it all if you have a look at some of the live streams. And this live stream is going to go up on the playlist. So if you haven't seen the playlist yet, go to my channel, and then there's a whole playlist. I think I've done around about 15 different videos, shorts, live streams, all about the RC-600, as well as the main video as well. So I am predominantly going to be playing with just mode number 1, memory number 1. Which is this one. So this is basically, if you were to get it out of the tin, as it were, as you just get the box out and you just plug it in and start playing it, this is pretty much how it is. However, there's 1 or 2 little caveats and I've changed. So on mode number 1, you have to spare with me on this. Oh, thank you very much for what you do. Thank you so much. That's lovely. That's really nice for you to say that. Thank you so much, and thank you for sharing as well. That's cool. Compressor for beatboxing, question mark. Sort of. I'll go into that one-player mode. I like that title, by the way, one-player mode. That's cool, because that's what I am. I'm a one-player mode. I'm one artiste. So yes, sort of. What I do is I actually use an effect on the TC Helicon Voice Live Play acoustic. So right now, you can hear my voice, and right now there are 2 more. And that is the harmony, which is on the TC Helicon. And I actually use that because it just accentuates it. There's a little bit of compression on those other 2 voices, and it changes my voice a little bit as well. So if I went boom, 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 do you hear the difference? So it's got 3 voices doing a beatbox together, basically. So it makes it just a little bit more punchy, which is quite cool. Sometimes I'll actually use this other effect, which is basically an octave down, which is guitar to bass, which you can do on this as well. And
this is my voice an octave down, but with my voice still mixed in. But then if you want a kick drum,
and that leads me nicely onto what I've done with these pedals. So this memory that I've got right now, yeah, me too, and I do video game music. Nice, like a video game music. That's cool. I like that. I'm gonna check you out later. That's cool. I like that. Right, cool. So basically, you've got literally pedal 1, 2, 3 on mode 1, and pedal 4, 5, 6 on mode 2, and that's how it is out the box. The top 3. So if you think of it, I'm gonna use my foot, but if you think of it as pedal 1, pedal 2, changed number 8. Okay, so number 9 is still all start stop. I've not changed that, but number 8 is actually effect number 2 for me, and my effect is guitar to bass, but I've actually put it on both inputs. So now you can hear. It's a much deeper version of the effect I've got on the TC Helicon, and I am going to tweak it over the next week or so. So, I know I've been talking a lot. I just wanted to show you a lot, basically. I know this is more about learn how to loop with JP. I've not done a single loop in like sort of 20 minutes. And then I'm going to basically stop and explain what I've done. I hope that makes sense. Ben, how are we? You okay? Can you turn on and off the click with the foot button? Then does the click keep on playing until you turn it off, just like in a Voice Live 3? So, yeah, you're a Voice Live 3 user, aren't you? So basically, yes and no. It's part of the rhythm section. So yes, you can turn it on with a foot button if you want. You could change one of these, or you could use an FS6 or 7 pedal, or any expression pedal. Maybe you could, I don't know, you could use that. So yes, you could. And then what you can do is you can turn it on and off. However, you can also do is you can reroute it to just your ears. So you could reroute that, so you use sub-out or phones, and phones has got the click, but then actually the main out doesn't have the click. So the audience don't hear the click, but you do. So you can do that, definitely. You just need to do a little bit of routing and tell the rhythm section where it needs to go. So it is the rhythm section of that. And that's basically it. I'm at Voice Live 3 Beast. Yes, I had the Voice Live 3, I had the Extreme, the Voice Live 2, I've had the Touch 2. I think the Touch 2 was my favorite, if I'm honest, because it had some cool things with that ribbon effect. But the Voice Live 3 is really cool. It's just the pedal organization, like where you click things. And like David Shannon has got like a Voice Live 3, and he's been using it for years, and always said it's got 2.5 loops. Because you can only play like 2 at a time, so you can do one and the other, one and the other. But the harmony system, of course, is amazing, and the effects are amazing. So yeah, it's one thing. One more thing I didn't find out. Go on, what is it? Let me know, and then I'm going to start playing. I am actually going to start playing. By the way, this live stream is going to be around for 2 hours, so obviously, if you've got the time, great. If you obviously need to dive off and sort your life out, then that's absolutely fine. I will be putting this on replay as well. But if you've got your questions, you've got any questions regarding this, now is the time to ask. Obviously, whilst I am looking at the chat. One player mode is typing like crazy right now. Also, while we're here, and I want to let you know that obviously we are on Facebook Live as well, on my John Paul Music UK channel. We are actually live streaming on Twitch as well, so if you're on Twitch, say hello, hi. And then also, we're on LinkedIn, would you believe? We're on LinkedIn Live. So this is an instructional video, but that's why it's on LinkedIn Live as well. So we're in 4 different places right now and using Restream to do all that. So I do a video on Restream if you ever want to see that. So I hope I always want to check in every once in a while to make sure that the volume is okay, and you can hear me, and you can also see what I'm doing as well. We haven't got like a scatty video going on, because obviously then you're not going to be able to see what I'm doing. So there you go, one player mode. I'm using the rhythm only as click over the phones. I could use one of the 4 knobs to control the rhythm level, but I can't find a way to change the overall volume on the phone's output. Okay, so what you'd need to do there is basically you need to go into, first of all, if you go into the mixer and just change the phone's volume, it will change the master as well. So that's how it is out the box. What I'd advise you to do is go and download the parameter guide from Boss. They put a link to it on the main one, but I really wish they just gave it you, because like, it is huge, yeah, without changing the master. So you can actually go into the settings, go into menu, okay, go into output. I'm thinking now without looking at the board. And then there is an option where you can separate the phone's volume and the master volume. So the master volume just stays where it is. So if you change the phone's volume, I haven't got that because I don't use headphones. But so if you change the master volume and the phones, for those who don't know, basically if you change one, the other changes at the same time. But there's a way you can separate that. So it's in the settings, it's in, my brain. It's in menu, it's in output, and I think it's in routing. I want to say it's in routing off the top of my head. Please don't quote me on that though, but you can. There's literally a switch to turn that off. It's on by default, and you can just go, no. And in that way, they're separate, so you can change the volume of that. And then what you could do is, what a lot of people don't realize is when they get it out of the box, you can see on mine, I hope you can see it, you can change the volume of basically a couple of things. You can change these 4 silver control knobs to be anything you want, almost. So I've got that down. You can see one of them actually says rhythm level, as well as loop mode, and then current track. And current track for me is current track volume. So On the RC-300, you had obviously volume controls, so little sliders. So what I've done is whatever current track, the last track I've touched, which I've make a loop and touch it, the current track I can actually adjust the volume. Anyway, right, cool, wicked. Ben, I've tried the RC-600 in a shop and did not know the mode colours, so it was very confusing to understand on which loop of tracks it was which. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The screen should visualise this. Yes. I mean, top left-hand corner of that screen is doing nothing, like right in the corner. It could just go, say, mode 1, mode 2, mode 3. It'd just be nice. So I've already fed that back, actually. And then the other thing I really want as on the feedback is you've got this lovely, in the center, you've got this lovely orb showing you the track, and you can change what that does. I'd kind of like that on the digital display, just to say, like, going across, like the RC-500 does, what's going across and where. Maybe it's too small for that visual. I don't know. What's this? Why don't you use dual lock? Those zip ties. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so again, before I start playing, this was just a quick fix. So I hate Velcro. Hate it. It's ruined my boards. It's ruined my pedals. So when I got this pedal board from Swan Flight, they're going to hate me for this, but I drilled holes into the actual board. And the actual board, you can see where my foot is. It's actually got about 1.5 inches off the floor. So I drilled holes through it and I zip tie everything. But dual lock, I need to look into. So thank you for that, Ben. But I'm never ever going back to Velcro ever again. So there we go. Yeah, I have the PDF. Cool. That's great. Cool. Rob, how are we? You okay? How do you designate a pedal to select a track? A couple of settings are current track. How do you designate current track? So, greetings from Germany. Basically, sorry, just before I answer Rob, thank you for that. Yeah, it should help Velcro. Velcro's for noobs. Velcro's for noobs. Dual lock, I need to look at dual lock. Thank you for that. Rob, yes, so basically what you need to do is you can have current track. The way you actually select current track is the last one you've tapped. So if I create a loop on this, even if I hit the stop button, that now selects it. If I change the display for a second, just give me one sec. So if I change the display right now, let me just create a really quick loop. And this isn't the song I was going to do, but let me just create it. Watch this. So you see the way it went from record to dub to play. I've got that set so it automatically dubs. And then look, I'm going to go. You see it's track 1, stop, play. If I then go to this one, it will say track 2. So right now, let me turn that down. And this is where this expression pedal is really useful. There you go, I'm still playing, but I can adjust the volumes. Not the volume of this. So that way, basically now, I'm on track 2. If I was to select that, I'd have to double tap it because it's like dub. Now I'm on track 1. There you go, I'm on track 2 again. If I stop that, I'd stop on track 1, but it's track 2 is on the play. And then obviously you'd have to go back to play record to select it. You can choose it, so when you actually hit the stop buttons, they select it as well. But that just shows you the track 2 stop. So right now I'm on track 2, and I can prove that by going back one. Do you see that little circular dot? That shows you what track you're on, okay? Now you can actually have it, so you could maybe get an FS6 or 7 pedal, and or you could maybe get these two, for example, and you can actually have track up and track down. So you select track, and you can choose the track you want, and then go for it. The alternative you can do as well, and it shows you this in the starter manual. I call it the starter manual because it's not the big manual. The big manual is the parameter guide. That's your Bible. What you can do is you could say, select, record, overdub, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you could say they're the actual select button. So you go select track 3, and then record and overdub. You could do it that way. So I go select track 3, select track 4, select track 5. So you could do it, did the track first, and then the other buttons were like, what do you do with it? So you could do it that way. So selecting a track, that's kind of how you do it. Just doing the old quick memory down, memory up, it erases it thing. It's just easier. Where are we on the actual chat? How are we, guys? We okay? So let's have a quick look. That's how you. So Rob, yes, how you designated. That's fine. Cool. I'm gonna have to dual lock. I'm gonna have to have a look at this dual lock. I'd like to use an expression pedal to adjust individual volumes. Yes, you can do that. So what you can then do is, I would look at select maybe using something like an FS6 or 7 pedal, and then change that so it's not on like, you know, sort of tempo, whatever. Change it so it's select up and select down current track, and then what you could then do is, when you've selected that track, of course, that will be volume of current track. What I've got it is volume of all loops. So you could do it that way. And then that way, basically, you've got full control without actually messing around with the RC-600. You have the RC-600 how you want it, and then you don't have to go through different modes. You can actually do this externally. So go select up, select down. So, and then it'll give you a visualization. So that little dot, that dot will move when you go select up and down a track. So then you know which track you're on visually. So you go, okay, it's on track 4, and then I can just go and move that however you want. So I've actually, the other way to do it as well is how I've done it. So the other option you've got, I didn't think I'd be sort of bending down so much today, but it's because of the questions we're asking. But let me just show you this. The second silver dial knob that I've got is actually current track. So you can actually have that, but then it means you have to bend down to get it. Now, I don't use it that much, that's why it's there, but have a look at this. So that just shows you it's like track 1 to 6, and it actually moves around. And I leave it a second, and that little track sign goes away. So there's a couple of options. There's more than one way to sort of skin a cat, as it were. So there we go. Yeah, with the select option, you could select a track and then manipulate it in that way. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that's helpful to you. Right, cool. You should help Velcro. Yeah, cool. Let's use expression. Yes, I like Velcro. Okay. Greetings from Germany too. Greetings. A little bit later in the day, though, isn't it? I hope it's still sunny like it is here. You are not a bad person, even if you like Velcro. Yeah, I mean, Velcro, people like it because obviously you just stick it to the board and that's fine. If you're not changing your board that often, I'm changing my board all the time because I'm doing different things. Because if it was just gigging, I'd have it set. But because I do the YouTube stuff, I change things on the board to show you what it looks like. So the zip tie option was great for me. This is where basically Ben's going to go nuts because these aren't reusable zip ties. So I have to cut them every time I need one, but I'm buying a pair of reusable, so don't hate me for that. So yeah, so it's just like, I was like, oh, quick, put this on because I've got a gig tomorrow. So that's basically what happened. But I am changing it, don't worry. And I was thinking about, obviously, you know, they're white, they don't look great. But there we go. That visualization was great. Good. I'm glad you helped. Oh, I don't know. Velcro was a brand name, and Dual Lock is another. Oh yeah. Oh, is Velcro like sellotape? Is it like a brand name where it's like sticky tape? Is that what it is? I'm using Tessa. Local drive. Okay, cool. Where is the select option? Right now, Rob, I've got this set up in a specific way, so I can dive into it, but basically what you'd need to do is, I'm just going to literally go to my knees on this one just to show you. So, watch carefully, because I can't use the mic at the same time, because it's like attached to things. Hang on a sec. I hope you followed that. So basically, it's menu, go across one, go to this one, which is here, which is a control function. Now, if you're doing it externally, then you go to, obviously, here. Now, I just went into mode 1, but if you're doing it externally, then you go, obviously, control stroke expression. Now, one thing you might have to do is you might have to turn it off if it's not the right one and use it as an assign instead. And I did do things about how to use assign, so if you have a look at some of my videos, that should help. Okay, so 40 minutes and I've not played a thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play this first song. I did say I'm going to do 4 songs today, and I'm going to show you how I do it. So I predominantly start with a kick drum, and then basically then you can... What was that? So when you press clear all. Did the pedal play the loop a little and then delete? Ah, yeah, no, I'm going to go into that in a minute, Ben. I'll show you that. So when I predominantly play live, it's just so much easier for me because I don't use the rhythm section to actually create my own rhythm. So on track 1, 99% of the time, track 1 is a kick drum or a snare or it's some kind of rhythm section or me doing that, basically. So I'm going to show you this. I'm going to play a song, which is a Justin Timberlake song. Now you'll notice straight away when I hit the second button, the record button the second time, it goes straight into dub mode, and you can change that. So if you go into loop and then go across one, go into record options, and you can change it from record play to record dub. So all of my pedals are record dub because then that way it's just quicker. I don't have to wait an entire thing for it to go around again before I kick something else in. So it's really useful, but just remember it's on dub, otherwise you just go, oh, that wasn't good, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, so you can obviously do that. But yeah, hang on a sec. I always do that. So we've recorded our guitar, and I did that twice, and then we recorded a bass line as well, and that bass line is coming from the TC Helicon, but I've also got the bass on my loop, but I've actually got it on here. So if I do this, hello, 1, 2, I could also record it there if you didn't have something like an external. And then I've actually got another effect that I use where I octave my voice. So this one makes it sound like it's in a really big church.
And this one makes me sound like it's an octave up.
Everybody knows all about my direction. Now, did you notice what I did there? I basically I stopped for a second to do stop, start, all, and then I played it again, but then I very quickly turned loop 3 off because I want loop 3 to not be on, but it's just quicker to do basically 2 buttons there, then go and pedal dance. So let me do that again. You'll also notice, as I said before, the guitar and the vocals are going to cut in way beyond the loops because the loop volume on this expression pedal and a loop volume in general is set to 95 out of 100. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play that again and just show you it. So and then everybody knows. I was looking at the camera and not my feet. So you go, dun, everybody knows all about my direction. And it kicks in for a second, but who cares? The audience? No, they don't care as long as it's still going. And then I've got harmonies, but I use that with the TC Helicon. So when we get to obviously the chorus, everybody just say something, say something, say something, say something, say something that says something. I don't wanna be caught up in the rhythm of it. And that's the loop as it is at the moment. And then what will happen is, obviously that kicks in quite quickly. And then what we'll then do is, when we get past the sort of first bit, we'll let this play again, and I'll add more drums onto loop number 1. So just a bit more beatboxy, a bit more heavy. It just adds another element. Now the other thing as well is, in this track there's a talking drum, if you actually listen to the original track. And what I like to do is I like to add it in, but actually add it into the guitar section. So you go boom, what? Just add a little bit again, just a little bit more things. So give this a sec and I'll show you. So when we get to verse number 2, which is everybody knows all about my transgressions, then obviously we can either have things all kicking, and that's fine, or I can just stop the whole thing and play live. So there's a part actually in the track where actually the next line in melody and harmony, in melody and harmony section, where I literally go, in melody and harmony with you and me tonight. Whoa. And then it just goes back in. So what I'll do is I'll have this obviously kick in, and that's fine. And then everybody knows, everybody knows all about my transgressions. In my heart somewhere, in melody and harmony with you and me tonight. Whoa, rhythm call my name. Everybody just say something, say something, say something, say something, etc., etc. Now there is a chord change in that song, and what I will normally do is, multiple people I am now, what I'll normally do is I will actually kill the harmonies, the little high ends, and then all the chords, of course, are on here as well. So when we get into it, we get into the F section. This is on capo 2, but it's playing F. Then I'll actually just kill it off like step by step. So it's easier for me, the crowd still like it, the beat's still going, it's chugging away. So have a listen to this. Sometimes the greatest way to say something is to say nothing at all. Sometimes the greatest way to say something is to say nothing. And then obviously kick it there, and then kick back in. And I can't help myself. And then you just repeat that process. I hope that's really helpful, because as you may have noticed, I'm actually only using 3 loops. That's how I've always done it, and I did it on the RC-300. I actually did it on the Headrush looper board, just 3 loops. I didn't use the 4th one for this. So this way, I'm not actually changing modes at all, which is kind of handy, because it's just all one mode, one pedal, and then I can start and stop how I want. And I can, if I want to, of course, if you want to basically drop out and drop back in again, of course, I can use that, no problem. I'm not using the FS7 pedal for this at all, for anything. And it's just 3 loops, really, really simple. Basically, the first one is a 2-bar, a little bit of beatboxy stuff over the top. And then after that, you've got the second one, which is the actual chords, the 4 chords, the A minor, so... and then C, and then G, and then sort of like a drop D with a sort of, where are we? Like an F sharp kind of thing. And then, and then basically just the harmonies on the top. And that's the whole kind of looping course song for it. And of course, I will just play with these so I can actually, if I was to stop all these, and you get to the end of it, and you can actually stop it. The other thing you can do as well is, of course, you can drop in. So you go, And you've just got to keep your eye on the loop going round. You can see it there. So I'm going to drop it and then bring it back. Watch this. So having the volume of the loops is on the expression pedal is really, really handy. And I just wanted to show you that, and that's the first song done. I'm not going to play the full song. I'm just here to show you how I play certain songs on the RC-600. And yes, I need to assign a pedal to kind of clear all. I do have assigned a pedal to clear all, which is actually on mode 2, and then hold that down. Now, to answer the question, when you press clear all, I shouldn't have cleared it, should I? Sorry, hang on a sec. Okay, so that'll do. What you can do is, if basically you've got a loop on there already, then what you can do is, if you said, oh, you know, does it play, when you press clear all, did the pedal play the loop a little bit and then delete? And yes, it does. However, there is another option you can choose, which is literally press it to clear all. So on mode 2, what I've actually done is I've done that. So if I just click that now, it will clear all without playing anything. If you do one where you hold it down, it's pressed it. So it thinks basically, right, I've pressed it, so play. Oh, there's another press, clear it, and it does it that way. There is another option, and I'll go into which one that is now. But if I literally just go, have I changed it on this one? I think I might have changed it. Yeah, I might have changed it on this specific one. I think it's on one of the other memories. But basically, if you hold it down, yeah, there you go. See the way it played there? So the trick for that is, if you've got an expression pedal, just drop that down. Then hold it down, let it play, and then drop that back up again. Alternatively, we'll do this now. I'm going to change it because I thought I changed it, but actually it's changed on a different one. So I'm going to take the guitar off. I'm going to take the microphone off the stand. And I'm going to go down to the RC-600 and show you what I'm talking about. Right, so first of all, hope you can still hear me and everything. So what we're going to do is, if you're not familiar with this, white is the first mode. Red is the second mode, and the third mode is blue, which is, most people have it as the effects. So we're going to go on to mode number 2, so which is red. This is start, stop, all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to loop. No, I'm going to go over to menu. Sorry. Menu, go across one. Control functions. Pedal mode number 2. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's the last one. Go to pedal number 9. And you can see there, so the push means click. I don't know why they didn't just call it click. They should have just called it click. But push means click, hold is hold, and click is double tap. Don't ask me why they've done it this way. Just like, why didn't they put that D tap as opposed to click? And that should be click. I don't know why, but it's just the way it is. But you can see this one is all start, stop number 2. So the first bit is all start, stop, but if you hold it down, it's all clear. What we can do is, if you actually go across 2, that is now all clear. So if I get out of there now, and that's only on pedal mode number 2, pedal number 1 is still start, stop. So if I now write that to the memory, I should have done that before, I apologize. So I'm just going to create a quick loop now, so I'm just going to go boom, that sounds awful, but I've got one on pedal number 1 and pedal number 4. It doesn't matter. If I now go to pedal mode number 2, which is red, and I just click this, gone. No audio, no sound, it's just gone. And that's really useful. I actually have it on another mode, on another memory, but that's just really handy. It's really useful. So I just wanted to basically show you that you can do that. So I used to use an RC-300, and then I moved over to the Headrush Pedalboard, and the first thing I was missing was an expression pedal, because I used the expression pedal to do exactly the same thing, so I added one. And I've done exactly the same here, but it's like smaller. So I don't care about the size of it, because the size is fantastic. It's a third of the, it's almost just about a third of the size smaller. And it's great. I mean, I love the fact that basically loads of things are in there, and it's an absolute powerhouse. Now, the other thing I get asked a lot is, are you using, you know, external like MIDI pedals? Are you going to add more pedals? Are you going to add more things? No, and I'll give you the reason why after I've taken this sip. I may still add the Morning Star, thinking about it, because there's a couple of things I want it to do, but we'll see. There is a video that I saw on YouTube, and I encourage everyone to go and see it, which is, I think her name is Jo Quayle, or I think it's Jo. She's a cellist, and she brought out 2 videos that then she hadn't been a video out for like a year or 9 months before. And one is a performance, and then the other one is a walkthrough of that performance, and it's fabulous. I can't remember the track name though. I have to save my life right now. I've got it stored as my saved videos because it's really, really good, and Jo is really switched on, and she's got an RC-600, and what she does is she really utilizes the assigns. What people don't realize, and I've been saying this in all the live streams, is that basically right now, let's get back to mode 1. Mode 1, you've got 9 pedals. Mode 2, you've got 9 pedals. Mode 3, you've got, guess what, 9 pedals. So there's 27 pedals, technically, on an RC-600 per memory. Then, on top of all of that, you've got 16 assigned. So what you could do is, with one button press, you could change over to maybe from a verse to a chorus, but then also at the same time, you could tell it 16 different things as well. You could tell it, turn on this effect, turn off this effect, bring the volume up, bring the volume down. You could do all kinds with the assigns, and you can basically do it on the same button. So people are like, oh, I need to paddle dance, and I need to go chorus, turn that on, bring this over there, just put it all on the same one. Do it all on the same one. So assign it to the paddle that you're actually pressing, and that is basically what's called the source. And the target is basically the effect or the parameter you want to change. And then that way you can literally go, right, well, pedal number 2 is chorus, or it's the second loop, or whatever you want to do. At the same time, change it over so it's a bass. Or you could change it over the guitar to bass, or change the guitar if you're using an electric guitar, maybe change it over so it's a different amp. So this is huge, this is massive, because you can do this obviously, and as you get it out of the box, it's per system, okay? But then if you actually do it where it's per memory, then you've got 27 buttons and 16 assigns per memory. Now you could obviously just copy that and paste it onto memory number 2, memory number 3, and memory number 4, whatever you want to do. But then also you could have, well, actually memory number 2 is a different song, and it's actually got like single modes, or memory number 3 is multi-mode on some, but single mode on another, and I've got different effects for different things. Speaking of effects, you've got 57 effects, and you can use 4 at a time inputs and 4 at a time track, okay? But you've also got 4 banks of it. So you could actually, with one button press, you could say change bank and turn on effect number 3, which would be effect number 12. Does that make sense? So you can do loads with this thing, and you're not limited to just those 4 effects. And it's something that I'm still getting to grips with. I'm like, how do I want my pedal to be? Now, the way I've got 001 set up is kind of like a generic, so I could play my entire set on all of this on 001. Or I could step through each individual memory and go, I've got a different settings for each memory if I wanted to. And that's really powerful, because it means basically that you've got an entire production suite at your fingertips. Yes, it does mean you've got to do a lot more setup and you've got to do a lot more control. But go and watch Jo's video, and when she hits one button, loads of things change at once. I think she used like 8 assigns on one thing, on one moment, and it all just goes boom, and it's really cool, and it drops really well. And of course, with 32-bit floating, it's just, the sound quality is fabulous. And she's using this electronic cello, and she's going boom, boom, boom on the cello. It's fabulous. So yeah, so I just wanted to kind of highlight that. It's really, really cool that you can use the assigns. And most people won't need external MIDI unless you're doing like lots and lots of things all at once, and you do want to control things, you do want to pedal dance, that's fine. I think we've been blessed this time round. When you get an RC-50 or an RC-300, then Boss went, that pedal does that job. That's it. Done. You have to work around that. Now, what you've been given is, here's 27 buttons, do what you like. And I don't think people have got to grasp, well, they're only starting to get to grips with this now. It's like, here's 27 buttons, program them however you like. And this is the fundamental reason why I have jumped from the Headrush looper board over to the RC-600 now. And yes, I'm absolutely saying, basically, that the future of it is the RC-600 for me. If someone actually asked me, a long time sort of YouTube friend of mine sent him and said, Headrush or RC-600, which one? And I said, well, I've got both in this room right now, and the one that's on my pedalboard is the RC-600. So that should tell you everything you need to know about what it can do. And the Headrush is not a bad pedalboard. It's a fantastic pedalboard. That touchscreen is great. The way you navigate through stuff is great. The way they show the loops going across with the little kind of fading things are really cool. But the RC-600, basically what it can actually do, if you just forgive that screen, then it's amazing what it can do. And there's so many different things. The rack system that they have in the Headrush looper board for the effects, I'm pointing over there because it's over there at the moment. The rack, you can't see it. The rack thing basically for the effects, it's good. There's some great guitar stuff in there. I'm just an acoustic guitarist. I'm not using electric guitar, so I can't take advantage. Well, I could take advantage of it, but I don't really use it. There's some great effects in this as well. And then there's one that just says amp, and that's it. And it's like there's loads of amps, and they've been robbed from all the Boss pedals. So that's really, really cool. And obviously some of the effects from the Headrush looper board have been robbed from the Pedalboard and the MX5s and things like that. So you have to decide, obviously, what's going to be better for you. If you're using a lot of stuff from one and the other, and you just want one pedal to rule them all, then you have to decide by whatever is going to suit you. Is the Headrush pedalboard heavier? Yes, because it's 3 times the size, but it also has 4 XLR inputs, actually multi-jack inputs, which actually I really wish they'd done on this, because then it doesn't matter whether you're plugging in an XLR or a jack, and you can control it that way. So that's one thing. That's kind of like, if you're always plugging in XLRs and then you've got jacks on this, then it's like, well, then that might suit you better. The touchscreen is awesome. It is. It's awesome. Version 1, like when I very first got it, the system was a bit like, the touchscreen worked, but the system was okay. It was usable. There was a couple of bugs. When it got to version 2, however, and I've done a video about that, it is a game changer for the Headrush looper board. And that's where we're at with the RC-600. We're still obviously on version 1 of stuff, and it has got a couple of niggly-naggly bits that they've already turned around and said last week. Was it last week? They came out with a firmware update is coming, and here are the reasons why. And actually, they're bringing a couple of things from the RC-300. They're bringing the old flip effects and the actual the other effects as well. So I'm quite interested to see how they play. But also, they're looking at doing a couple of firmware updates as well. So I'm just going to take a pause and obviously go back to the chat and see who's still hanging around while I'm just dilly-dallying on a Sunday. So cool. Where are we up to? There we go. Yes, so Ben, there's the delete all option that I talked to you about 10-15 minutes ago. One player mode. Okay, I was wrong. Velcro and dual lock are not the same, but Telsa is like Velcro. Okay, really should try dual lock. Sorry for the spam. No spam here. It's all fine because obviously you're talking to us. It's all good. Oh my God, your feet look gigantic. Do they? Oh my God, they do. Oh, scary. It's because that's actually an iPhone, and it's on like ultra wide. So yeah, I'm sorry for the ginormous feet. They're not really that big. So they're not small, but hey ho. I found the output knob setting in the parameter guide. Cool, thanks. But that's really great. I was fearing that I had to use an external mini mixer to make monitoring and headphones. I did. Like I did with the RC-300. Yeah, so there's a lot in the routing that you can do, and you've got 8 outs, okay? So you've got 8 mono outs, think of it that way. So you've got your main left and right, you've got your sub 1 left and right, sub 2 left and right, and you've got your headphone left and right, okay? So you've actually got 8 outs, and basically you've got the equivalent of 6 ins, but then you've also got the loops are kind of like the 2 as well. So yeah, it's a monster, and if you look at from a routing perspective. And you can obviously tell it, well, on the sub, and bring in the microphone 1, but no, bring in microphone 2, and bring in, like, you know, instrument 1 left, but don't bring in instrument 1 right, left. Instrument right, everyone 1 left, instrument 1 right. You know what I mean? And then the headphones you can split as well, which is really clever, because then obviously you could use that as a headphone jack, that's fine, but you could also use it as a stereo to mono, and then plug that in somewhere else as well. So you've got 8 separate outs, and you can route them however you want. And this is the thing, again, it's all about customization. Like, you've got all these buttons you can reprogram, you've got all these areas you can reroute, and people are starting to get to grips with this now and go, Christ, I can actually do all of this all in one go, and it's like, that's really cool. And it's like, oh, I don't need this mixer. Boom, gone. So you might need a mixer, but you know, there's some amazing things. My thing now is basically more about control of those loops, and obviously I control all of them together. Obviously with this, what I'd like to do is be able to have something potentially tabletop-wise, so I can individually control. I do have a mini multi-core that I bought, which is like an 8-in, 8-out multi-core to go into a mixer, so I could maybe control them through the mixer, just as you said. So if you want more granular analog control, you can do that. The other thing as well is, obviously, the USB. The USB basically has 2 modes, and the USB goes into normal mode, so you've got 2 in, 2 out, and that's fine. If you put it into vendor mode, it's 8 in, 8 out, and that is insane at 32-bit floating. So now what you've got is an 8 in, 8 out audio interface with 32-bit. And that's just built in, that's incredible. You don't actually have to utilize an audio interface, which I bought a new one, and that's actually an 18 in, so there we go, but that's for the studio. But you could technically use that as an audio interface if you wanted to, which is really insane. It's cool. Right. One play mode. Do you know what would be great? If you could make your expression pedal to be a volume pedal if no effects are activated, and controlling an effect and not volume of any effects are activated. In fact, already, would you have been great on the... that would have been great in the RC-300. Yeah, so basically what you're saying is, hang on, let me just get what you're saying. You're saying basically, so on the expression pedal, be a volume pedal if no effects are activated. So if the effects are activated, don't turn into a... and then controlling an effect if not the volume. Well, you can do that. You can control other elements. You can control different parameters with the expression pedal if you want to. So you can turn around and say, well, when that's active, turn off being an expression pedal for the volume, but turn on being an expression pedal for something else. I don't know if you were aware of that. You can do that. You need to use 2 separate assigns, I think. Maybe 3, but then basically, because we've got one as the expression, another one as the effect, and then you have to then do another one to turn it on and off. But you could actually do that, so you can do that as well. So that expression pedal could be a multi-expression pedal for different things as you use it for different parts of the track. Whew, yeah, so there we go. We also got an MP100 MIDI commander. Yeah, very affordable, it is. And you can do many things with it, and not everything with those MIDI 8 pedals. Oh yeah, yeah. So I've got a Morningstar MC8, which obviously is a little bit more expensive, but as I say, with one button press, you can do 16 MIDI commands per one, and I haven't even utilized all of that yet, which is really, really crazy. Fingerstep, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello. So let's just carry on with this, and just want to obviously let you be aware of what I'm doing. I'm not just talking at you, we are looking at the RC-600 loop station. And a couple of things. First of all, basically, this live stream is sponsored, and sponsored by friends over at DistroKid. And they are obviously amazing music distribution company. And there's a link in the description box, basically, both on Facebook, on YouTube, and I hope it's on Twitch as well. And we're also on LinkedIn as well, so I hope it's there as well. And if you click that link, we can give you 7% off your first annual membership, because what they do is, if you've got music and you want to release it, then they charge you annually, and you can release as much music as you want in 1 year for one price, which is $19.99. They've got a couple of different tiers as well. They've got one which is $35.99, which is basically you can dictate the release date, and you can do 2 different names. So you could have John Paul or a band as well. And you could actually, there's also a label version as well. So if you actually go on there, you can get 7% off whichever tier you want. So by clicking that link, that does help me out. And obviously if you do sign up, great, fantastic. And thank you very much to DistroKid for sponsoring this video. This video is called Learn to Loop with JP and the Boss RC-600, which is there. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to change guitars over because the other guitar, the vocal might change a little bit now because it's turned all the things off. My other guitar, which is the red one just here, that's actually tuned into DADGAD. So if you are like me and not super duper proficient, I'm a chord player. I'm not like, you know, guitar, like metal, like shredding. But I play chords, and this one is tuned into D-A-D, G-A-D. And that has some advantages as well because you get a lower tone. What I really want to get is I really want to get a guitar splitter. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get, before it even reaches the TC Helicon, I'm actually going to plug in a little adapter. So I've basically got like two plugged in automatically. And I can just press a button and it'll switch from one to the other. Loopy pedals, I think, do them. I'm going to grab one, I think. So what I'm doing is basically I'm not playing the full songs, I'm showing you how I play the songs. And this one's a little bit of fun because basically this one actually utilizes one or two of the effects of the RC-600. And this is a Stevie Wonder song, which is Superstition. Now, the thing with Superstition is, of course, it's played, you know, with a Rhodes piano or a clavi piano, I can't remember quite which one it is. And you got a couple of like really, really interesting noises there. And I've kind of adapted it, so it's a little bit funky, obviously. It needs to stay funky, so... Really dropped me plaque then. Cool, right, so let's have a quick look, just go in the chat before we carry on. Hello, maybe you know how to control a Boss RC-600 MIDI controller with the Korg Nano Station Studio. I haven't an idea. Okay, you're going to have to remind me, the Nano Control Studio, is that the one with the faders? Or is that the one with the drum pads, because I can't remember. If it's the one with the faders, you can do that, and if it's the one with the drum pads, you can do that as well. It's all done through MIDI. So what you need to know is, you need to know, if it's the faders, you need to know what the MIDI command numbers are for each one. So grab the manual for your Korg, and basically find the CC numbers for each one, okay? Then what you do is you use things like the assigns, and then you use the assigns to say, right, assign number 1 is fader number 1, and fader number 1 is CC 80, okay? Just an example. And then that way you can say, right, so that's the CC number. What's the source? Well, the source is volume. Volume what? Volume 1. So volume 1 track. There you go. And then just repeat that process. If it's the drum one, then you've got that option where you can actually control things like, you know, anything that's on the floor here, any of the buttons, or you could say, well, that's the kick drum, that's the snare, that's the hi-hat, and you can do that. It takes a little bit of time to program that up, but once it's done, it's done. But the key thing you need to do with any MIDI controller, as long as it's not one that you program yourself, so things like the Morningstar is an empty box, and you tell it which CC number it is. But with things like the Korgs and the Akai's and the Novations and things like that, you need to know what button and fader, what that CC number is, and then you can tell the RC-600 what to do with that CC number. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, you're going to have to grab your manual on that for the Korg itself. And then once you know that, you're basically just telling that thing, hey, on CC number 80, do this. And it'll go, okay. And you just save it, and that's it. It's fine. You can do it that way if you want to. Right, so I hope that makes sense to you. Figure step. So I hope that's useful. Let's have a look. Don't think that would work the way you would need it to be. Would have to assign every effect on-off pedal to also switch the expression pedal to effect volume. Okay. Have a think about it the other way, one-player mode, where you could actually have a button. So one of these buttons you could reassign to turn around and actually switch it between effects and volume. So you might not have to do as many assigns as you think. So you could actually turn around and say, on mode 3, like that one, for example, actually switches that from one thing to another. You could cycle through it, so you could go like effect 1, effect 2, effect 3, effect 4, expression volume. So you could do it that way. You've just got to have a think about how you want that to be. I hope that makes sense. And second, it would switch back to volume and not sort of, okay, that's cool. So yes, you could do it that way if you wanted to. Cool. Never mind. Okay. I'll leave it for now, but super nice talking to you and see it. Thank you very much for joining us. That's cool. Ben, cool. How are we doing? So when can we see MIDI foot pedal in action? Well, I'm still doing a couple of things on that. I want to do a little bit more of an instructional video about that. I don't want to just go, hey, look, it works. Bye. I want to do an instructional thing. So in order to do that, what I'm doing is I'm going to be doing it with not just like the Morningstar, because obviously it's a pedal. I want to be doing it with my Arturia Keylab, which has basically got faders, and it's also got button presses. And also the harder one is I want to actually try and see if I can do it through the Akai APC 40 as well. I want to make that all one video. So it's going to be like 3 sections. You've got pedal boards, you've got touch controls, you've got keyboard controls. So it's going to be a big video, but at the same time, I want it to be a little bit more instructional, and then you could kind of take the basis of that and apply it to whatever you're using. So if you're using things like a Novation, or if you're using a Korg Control Studio, then that way you could just apply that knowledge and just adapt it. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, the other option, of course, is controlling it through something like an iPad or an iPhone with a little app, like what's that one? The OSC one, the MIDI OSC one, and things like that. So yeah, there's a couple of things where you using it like that. And then the other thing as well, for me personally, because I can't stand wires, but I've got flipping loads of them, is I want to do it wirelessly. So I actually want to do it with things like a WIDI master, and the WIDI master's easy. You just tell the WIDI master, look over there, and it goes, okay. And then you've got another one basically on the other end, so you can do that way. So the WIDI master is actually an easy solution if you don't want MIDI cables flying around everywhere. Or if you've got an iPad, which has already got Bluetooth built in, you just tell it, look at the WIDI master, and it does it. It's quite easy. So anyway, that's cool. So good idea, try if that works. Cool. How do you set up your outputs when performing live? Do you let the sound engineer run your mix, or do you give as less control as possible? So, good question, Ben, because obviously we've got technically 8 outputs. So I have kind of 2 solutions for this. Right now, as you're listening to it right now, you may see anyway, it's just stereo out. Okay, so right now it's just using the main outs. Everything you can hear is coming out of that stereo out. And that's going to my speaker, which is just here, over there, and that's it. And I control it all. So if I'm in a local pub, because I play pub gigs, so I don't have the luxury of an engineer, and then if I'm playing a pub gig, predominantly it's me, I'm controlling it. What I normally do is I normally do 4 out. So what I do, I'll just go back to me a minute. What I do is I normally do 4 out. So if you can imagine, you've got main out left and right, you've got sub out left and right, and you've got sub out 2 left and right. What I normally do is I normally do main out left is my vocal, main out right is my guitar, because they're both mono anyway, and then sub out left and right is the loops, so basically just the loops. Now I can even split it more, where I can go sub out left and right is the left is the guitar loops and right is the vocal loops, so I could do it that way if you wanted, but I kind of mix my loops up together, so I don't really see the point in that. Also, the stereo effects, so on the loops, so I'd rather just have the loops going out left and right. And then my speaker is a Reach, so it's a Mackie Reach. It's discontinued now. It's like an all-in-one speaker, and it has 4 ins. So I'll go like vocal, guitar, loops. Okay, so I do it that way. That way I've got control over it, and I can control the loops with the volume anyway, and then I can control it independently here, but then also I can go, well, okay, let's kick the volume of the guitar up a little bit, or let's kick this up a little bit. And that's the way I do it live when it's just me. When you've got an audio engineer, then yes, I would go, right, here we go, here's the 6 out, and then you can control it how you want, mate. And then what I want to do is I go, cool, in my monitors, I need this. And the key thing for a sound engineer is do not put any of your own effects on my stuff. And I have to say it because I'll have this hall, 2, 3. If I go to this one, and then imagine them putting another hall on top of that, it'll go blah, or the bass will just get accentuated and just obviously rumble the whole place. So yeah, so a lot of the time I just say don't put any hole effects on, just take it in as dry. And then I've got a little multi-core, which is from Stag. So Stag do a little 8-in, 8-out multi-core cable, and then I can just go, there you go. They're all separate, and you could do it that way. And then I normally make sure that this and this is on its own channel, so then they can control it. And then I could give them the control of all the loops if I wanted to. I don't normally. I normally just give them a stereo feed for the loops, so they can just pull the loops back if they're a little bit. You could do it so if loop 1 is always your drums, you could go, here's my drums, here's the bass sound, here's this and the other. That's what Ed Sheeran does. So Ed Sheeran has, the looper that he has on stage is not a looper. Sorry to break your heart there, but it's not actually a loop pedal. It's a controlling pedal called Chewy 2, and the actual brain behind Chewy 2 is actually at the desk, or it's actually off stage, and then the sound engineer has every track, so he can actually get around about 8 different tracks, I think, or something like that. So he actually controls all the vocal and then sends that back to Ed through his monitors and through his headphones or monitors. And then he can see the volumes there that's being inputted, but the output is actually coming through from the PA. So we don't have that luxury, but then obviously if I'm playing a local gig, it's just like stereo out. If I take this to an open mic night, stereo out. If I'm playing a local Irish pub in the corner, or I'm playing a local old man's pub or a bar or a wine bar or somewhere like that, stereo out. If it's their PA, if it's my speaker I'm taking with me, it's 4 out. So my vocal, my guitar, and then the stereo loops. So I hope that answers your question, Ben. So I actually do it in a couple of different ways. So it depends on what you want. Yeah, good question. Thinking about that a lot. Cool, fantastic. For a second there, I thought you were gonna get some Georgian chat. Oh. Yeah, someone RC-600, buy one now.
Oh, the RC-600 is awesome.
If you do something like that, I'm going to end up messing around. So that's just what happened. That was your fault. Is Chewy 2 still basically a Mobius looper? Basically, yeah. I mean, it's on a high level because as I say, the looper itself is not the pedalboard. The pedalboard is just a controller, and then that just sends a signal to the looper, and the looper is actually a 19-inch rack mount system. So there we go. Dare you to do one for the next live? Oh yeah, don't you worry, I will. We want Harmonies, mate. No worries. You can get all the Harmonies you want. The guitar is slightly out of tune, and that really matters when the guitar's out of tune, 'cause that's what the effects is picking up to sing. Now, everything you just heard there is actually coming from the TC Helicon Voice Live Play acoustic. Harmonies on the RC-600 are as twofold. One, you have to set the key, or two, MIDI control. Okay, there is a hybrid system where you set it and then you can control it and kind of take it over. At the moment, there is no natural play harmonies. That's why, also at the same time, I am still carrying around a TC Helicon, because I don't think we're ever going to get rid of a TC Helicon. I just love their harmony system. It's just fantastic. Now you don't have to get obviously the big Voice Live 3, or you don't even have to get the Play acoustic. They do have one which is like a little pedal. That's just the Harmonist. Is it the Harmonist 2 or something like that? And then obviously plug in the guitar and just go through into it. And that's what I use it for. I also use mine for a little bit of what's called body res. So it just gives the guitar a little bit more brilliance and a little bit more. So yeah, so I use that anyway, and then eventually what I'd like to do is the effects that I use about 12 different effects, maybe 13 different effects on the TC Helicon. I'd like to basically sit down, close the door for about a week, and make them on the RC-600 and just make them available. But the fact is that you can just go cycle up, select that one, cycle down, 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 and select that one. So it's really, really useful like that. That's what I do. That's what I use it for. And because it doesn't affect the loop, it doesn't affect the looper. It is an input effect, and it's never going to be a track effect, and that's something that you could use as well. The track effect is very clever. Something I was shown, which I never really thought of, was that I've always put a bass on and then sung the bass in, and then that's it. Then it's kind of baked into the loop. I actually saw someone do it where they sung normally, and then they used a track effect for guitar to bass, and turned their vocal into a bass sound, which then also freed up the four track effects. So you're not using a track effect for bass, you're using you're not using an input effect for bass, you're using a track effect for bass, and then therefore you're not taking up one for the input effects. Does that make sense? That's really clever because you can just sing and go da 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 da. In fact, let me show you. So, I haven't got it set up with a track effects, but I've got it set up so I've got an input effect. As you can hear there. So it depends obviously what you want. I normally sing my bass lines. I don't normally play my bass lines. But cool. So I need to just step away for 1 second, because if I don't, something's going to die. Give me 1 second. Did not realize that my iPad was about to die. So I use a little app while I'm doing live. My iPad is just here. I can even show you if you want. So it's using an iClip 3 on the mic stand, and now I've just messed up this, haven't I? And that's too much. And what I actually use is I use it twofold. So when I'm gigging live and doing a covers gig, nice storage, bro. Yeah, man, IKEA, it's all good. £3. These little slidey things. And I've had them for years. They're on a lot of my videos. Anyway, so I use the iPad for two things. One, when I'm doing live stuff, I have that live stream. That app that I'm using right now, it's called OBS Blade, and what Blade does is basically it just takes all your OBS scenes, if you know what that means, and then they're on here, so that it's like a stream deck, but it's more than that because I can actually adjust the volume and I can adjust, can turn things off, which is really cool. I really like that. But then also when I'm gigging live, I do use the iPad because obviously if I've got 90 different songs, I can't remember all the lyrics for everything. I'm in my 40s now, brain. So I've got lyric sheets actually on the iPad now. I used to have a book, a folded, everyone had, in fact, one of these. It's all in here. Lyric sheets and all that kind of jazz. I used to go like that. Oh, have you got that song? Flip through. So looks a bit more professional with an iPad on stage. So yeah. Right, I'm going to get back to playing. Because that's what I said I'd do, didn't I? So I was going to do 4 songs. I've only done one so far. We've been like an hour and a half. Right, anyway, cool. Vocal oaks here. No, they're actually hard work. Yeah, they are. LOL. Oh, we like that, do we? Cool. Is that a simple guitar style octaver, or does it know about formants? So the guitar to bass effect on the RC-600 is literally that. And you get to basically choose how much of it works. So it's basically a full-blown guitar step down, but I've actually got it on the vocal and the guitar. So 1, 2, 3. That's set at 100%, so you can't hear my natural vocal there. I could put it to about 80, maybe 85, because I want it to predominantly be bass. Whereas On the TC Helicon,
1, 2, 3, hello.
I lovingly call that effect Barry White, and it is spelt wrong, but because I haven't got enough spaces. But that's got a little bit more of a formant system to it. So
1, 2, hello, 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 hello.
So it sounds more like a bassist than a bassed sound. Does that make sense? So it sounds more like someone who's just got a deep voice. And it is still an octave down. They're both an octave down, but you can see the difference between the two. Now you can switch that over. The guitar to bass basically just drops it down. There is also on the RC-600 an octaver, so you can then obviously go 4 octaves down or up, which is insane. But also at the same time you can change. There's another one where you can change it so it will play around with sort of like formant, but basically a little bit different, where you can change the tone and things like that. But yeah, I've had that Barry White noise for years. We're pushing quite a few years now, and I've never changed it, and it sounds really good through my speakers. It sounds really good through a PA.
So it really works quite well.
And then the other thing as well is actually I always have a little bit of comedy when I'm playing, or in between having a bit of banter with the audience. So I just go,
thank you very much.
And it's just a little bit of fun. So I'll leave it on, So it's just different. So it's all good. New here, good. We like new people. It's all good. It's all fine. No problem at all. I'm new here as well. I've only been doing YouTube properly for 3 years. And I've been busking and playing and doing stuff for lots of years. But if you're new here, welcome. No problem at all. If you're old hat to me and you've seen my face many times, also welcome. And Piers, how we doing? 54 here and still singing 30 plus, from memory. Nice, well done. That's cool. That's good. I'm rubbish because I'm pedal dancing and all kinds. That's really good. Wuss. I know, it's like a safety blanket, and it is, and I could probably play most of them by memory, but I just don't want to be on stage and go and just completely forget it. Also, I'm doing all my tempos and everything else myself in my head. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just set all the memories to backing tracks and be done with it. It'd be a lot easier. That Barry White voice is remarkably good. It sounds like a real human. Yeah, it does, and that's the thing. That's what I like about it. You can get a guitar to bass sound, and things like the OC3 and the OC5 are amazing for that. But
I kind of like this. It's cool, isn't it?
and then there's the alternative. So I wasn't really going to talk about the TC Helicon today, but the alternative is this one where it's the opposite.
So I can sound quite feminine, or I could sound like a small boy. Yeah, weird, but very useful for.
Very useful. There's also this.
Which is.
Oh, it's the same one. Where's the other one? The other one that I do, which is a bass one, which it's really loud. So I'm sorry if this distorts your speakers. Everyone's going shit right now, but no, basically like just.
This one. So it's that bass sound, but with a flange on it. So do.
So again, this is all vocal harmonies that I've set on the TC Helicon. And all these little things that I have to then take time to then go, can I replicate that on the RC-600? I probably can, but I just need to sit down with it and do that, not just make loops. So there we go. Got a little bit jealous, but starving artists don't make for good gear acquisition. There's no such thing as a starving artist. Go and do more music. I know you're going to hate me for that. It's probably going to unsubscribe. But the thing is I know the idea of starving artists, I totally get it. The fact is that basically I started with nothing. I didn't start with any loopers, anything like that, and then basically I bought a looper, then I bought an effects pedal, and it was all basically just saving little bits of money put aside to one things. So, if it's a hobby, cool, you don't want to be spending £1,000 on things, I totally get it. Some people do. But then also at the same time, if you want to make it more and you want to get more gigs out of it, or you're doing stuff live streaming or anything like that, things like this can really, really help it as well. Your vocal range, obviously, is your vocal range, and that's fine. You can't go beyond that. I try and exercise my voice by singing sort of chords and harmonies and things like that. I can't go below a certain point, I can't go above a certain point, but there's also certain, as you quite rightly said, formants as well. So this leads me nicely onto the song that I was going to do like 20 minutes ago, which is Superstition by Stevie Wonder. So I use this guitar, this red is in, this guitar is literally called Red, and the other one's called Lucky Lime. This one basically is in Dadgad, so... Nice for that. It's nice chuggy, chuggy, chuggy. So what I do is, with this one, of course, again, I create a loop, a rhythm loop first. Let's go back over to this view so you can see what I'm doing. Again, 001, this is literally track 1, track 2, track 3. Again, we're just not using 4, 5, or 6 for this because it doesn't quite need it yet. I'm used to having 3 tracks, maybe 4, so I'm not really used to having 5 or 6. So I'm kind of migrating, and I'm starting to split things up a little bit more now. But it means more work. So it means more muscle memory for the RC-300 to go over to this. It's just easy just to remember 3 tracks. And then I'm going to start using more of them, but I just want to show you this. So anyway, I want to show you this. 2. Not the cleanest loop I've ever done, but it'll do. And then basically that is all just me, obviously doing a little bit of boom, boom, and everything else, all on loop number 1. And you can now see on the little display there that loop number 1 has got something on it, and that's fine. It's already picked up the BPM, so as I tap it, you'll see the big orb circle go round. There we go. Now, what I do for this track, of course, is the actual track, Superstition, played on the keyboard, and you can hear... Now, I could play that, or I could sing it, but then obviously it's in the same vocal range of what I'm going to sing. So this leads me nicely on to one of the effects. So we go over to effects, and my first effect is basically a low-pass filter. So with that, basically what I'll do is I'll record that in on loop number 3. So let's do that. Okay, so let's recap. On loop number 1 is the beats. On loop number 3 is the effect. And the nice thing about it is it's not too in your face. It's basically just that. And then you heard me then just basically play the 3 chords, which is like D, sort of F to A, whatever. And then literally... Okay, now I could, if I wanted to, then also add a bass on there, and I'd probably just go So this time, I normally use the TC Helicom. I'm going to use the RC-600 to show you what that bass sounds like. Hopefully you can hear that. So my bass is actually on mode 1. It's here. It's actually I've changed. Sorry, let me just stop that. I've said this before in the live stream, but if you're just joining us, my bass sound I've actually put on mode 1 on pedal number 8. So if I tap that now, okay, so I can literally very quickly get to the bass sound. You don't have to have it as undo, redo, or half reverse, or whatever you want. So I'm going to basically play this, hit this, and I'm going to add it in on this one right here. So I'm going to add it in onto loop number 2. Now, the only thing with the bass one is obviously you have to maybe adjust it slightly. I'm still adjusting this bass sound because I normally use the TC Helicon one. And it's a little bit loud. It can be a little bit overpowering. But now I've got all 3 loops going. Obviously, I'm going to play and sing. And, of course, there is a key change in this. So I'm going to show you how I do that. So I'm going to just play basically the first verse and go into the chorus. Okay, so we put all our loops down. We put the bass beat drum down. We put the down, 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 and the audience go, I know what this is. And then, obviously, I'm just going muting the actual chords. Okay, and then we go. I'll take off the actual tune, right? So there is superstition, writings on the wall. There is superstition, that's about to fall. 13-month-old baby. 7 years of bad luck, good things in your past. Now, this is where, obviously, we're gonna. Hi, Matt. Matt, how we doing? Hope you're well. If you're new to the live stream, if you're new to the channel, if you're not familiar with it, go and look at Matt's stuff. Matt does lots of live streams, and he was playing with the RC-300 for years. He's now playing with the RC-600. He's doing lots of RC-600 tutorials as well. So go and have a look at Matt's stuff as well, because I know I don't do loads of tutorials, but I believe that we shouldn't just be watching one channel. We should be watching all channels, and then we can all kind of level up. Okay, so go and watch Matt's stuff. Go and subscribe to Matt Bolton Music, as well as Piers, actually. Piers has done a lot of stuff as well. But yeah, Matt's done some really great stuff with sound recently with the RC-600. So hi, Matt. Hope you're well. Really great stuff you're doing on the channel. Keep doing it, mate. It's fantastic. And you know what? You really, really make me want to buy one of those drum pad things that you use. But my goodness, your keyboards, don't they wobble? Oh, scary. Anyway, so we're moving on. We're back basically on the verse of Superstition. So I've got the like wah, wah, wah on there, what I call it, the guitars on there and the drums on there. Now, of course, we're going to get to a key change for the chords. So we're going to get to, if you believe in things that you don't understand, then you suffer. Superstition ain't the way. So what I normally do is then I'll obviously take off loops 2 and 3, but keep loop 1 going, just like I did, obviously, with Justin Timberlake's song. So if you haven't seen that and you just joined the live stream, I'll be putting that on the replay so you can go back and watch how I play that. So obviously, we're going to go back into the verse, and then you'll just see me turn off loops 2 and 3. It's as simple as that. Now, what I also have as well is obviously the TC Helicon. I have the Harmonies, and that really, really helps. And just have a listen to obviously how I do this, because it's just a lot easier. And then I'll stop and start all right at the end when we go, superstition ain't the way, and I'll kick it back in. All right, so let's have a look at this. Go. So. Gotta keep thinking of the lyrics. If you believe in things that you don't understand, then it's suffer. Yeah. Superstition ain't the way. See how I did that? Now, the other thing I'd add on top of that is actually I add the Harmonies, which is obviously these ones from the voice, the TC Helicon. So, obviously, when you go there, it just gives it a bit more oomph. So, when you believe in things that you don't understand, then you suffer. Superstition ain't the way. I'm going to kick it back in. All 3 kick back in, of course. Very superstitious. Wash your face and hair. Problem. Do all that you can. that you don't understand, then you suffer. Superstition ain't the way. Superstition ain't the way. Superstition ain't the way. Anyway, yeah. So stretching my voice a little bit there, but you get the idea. Now, the other thing as well is, of course, it depends on how you do it. You could have it so you have it as in a single mode, so then you just go one to the other. But I actually have the these bits obviously split from these because I want to play them separately. Now, when you get to the third verse, I actually just play live. I just literally don't have the looper play and go. What's the third verse? I've forgotten the lyrics, but yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Nothing left to say. That's the one. So basically there, and then when you got. Dun, 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 it just brings it back in. You can, and literally, when you do it every single time, you just feel the audience go, boom, yeah, and they really, really feel the kick, which is cool, which is really nice because we're coming out of some big speakers, which is cool. And that's the track. That's the whole thing. So literally, it's just those 3 loops. Again, I've been telling people before and telling them again. Obviously, going from an RC-300, even a headrest looper board, over to an RC-600, it's weird to go to the 4, 5, 6 loops initially. So I'm taking what I know from how I play it, and I'm applying it just to this for now, and therefore I'm not really changing the modes too many times. There are tracks I do which are split up, and I can split them up into 6 tracks, but it's obviously, this is just, playing covers, playing pub gigs, things like that, playing, at some kind of like coffee hall, something like that. Then, coffee hall, is that a word? No, JP, it's 2 words, you idiot. But you know what I mean. Yeah, so that's kind of a nice one. It's an easy one to do because you're basically doing that where you've just got the 3 loops and you can just chop and change. And then, of course, using the expression pedal, of course, you can pull that back down if you wanted to. So maybe you've got everything going for the... So I just play on verse 3. That's fine. But if you obviously got everything going, the other alternative, of course, you can just turn down. And then what you do is you pull it back and bring it back in. So did you hear that? So we're basically... So this is obviously to the volume of the loops. It's really helpful. You just got to get your timing right. And just kick it in at the right time. So I hope that really helps. So I'm going to actually just go straight on to the next song. And yes, I do the whole memory down, memory up thing just to get rid of it. It's the quickest way to do it. I keep forgetting, obviously go on mode 2, on pedal number 9, I've got clear all just as a tap. I keep forgetting to do it, and if you hold down, of course, you get the thing. I can do that, obviously. I can just pull that down, hold that down. For hello, haha, thanks, mate, you're welcome. Change insert from all instrument to 1. Change insert, oh yeah, change instrument, yeah. Having ribbed you about using lyrics, I'm probably impressed with your ability to drop into teaching mode, then bounce back into the song without a pause. Did you not see the fact that I couldn't remember the lyrics to Superstition? I was just going, so thanks, Piers. That's good, yeah. I'm teaching mode. I didn't know I had a teaching mode. I suppose I do, don't I? Teaching mode to playing mode. Insert teaching mode now. Must say I like the caps on the buttons. Very nifty, thanks. The caps on the buttons are really cheap. They're not the branded ones that you may know of. They're really cheap on Amazon, and if you go to one of my last videos that I got it on, which is the single mode thing, there's a link there if you want to go and purchase them from Amazon. So they're, me too, what brand are they? I can't remember the name of the brand. They came in a bag from Amazon, Amazon.com. that forest, the forest with all the products that you can buy, .com. So if you go to the single mode video, there's a link there, and you can see it there. So yeah. They're really good. You get about 20 in the box, in fact. Just drop one on the floor. Oop, hang on. There you go. That's one of them. and they literally just click on, and they work with the RC-600. They don't work with the head. Just drop the other one. They work with the RC-600. They don't work with the headrest looper board. No, stop. Sorry. They work with the RC-600 and the headrest looper board. They do not work with the TC Helicon. It's a different switch, so they don't click in. The TC Helicon one's a little bit thinner. I think that's why the other ones you can buy, you can screw in. These are just literally, I think they're 3D printed, and you just click them on. But they work. I'm happy with them. I haven't cracked one, and I was doing 2 hours on Friday in a pub, and they've been fine. They've been great. They were like £7, I think, or £8 for 20. Or 16 of them, whatever it is. Really good. I'm happy with them. They're great. Cool. Expression pedal is definitely on my shopping list. Yeah, so that expression pedal, you can obviously buy lots of different expression pedals. This one is made by M Audio. And again, this expression pedal is the M Audio. Don't tell me it's just called expression pedal. I think it is. Yeah, it is. The M Audio expression pedal. Again, it was under £20. You can get metal ones. This is plastic. And I absolutely bash it, and it's fine. And then just plug it in. It works. It's great. So you can get many different expression pedals. There's the Besky Pure ones. I can never pronounce that. There's obviously the Boss ones as well, the EV ones and things like that. But that's... let's go back to the main screen. There we go. That's it there. M Audio expression pedal. Yeah, and it works. It's fine. It's great. Dead easy. So, yeah. So hello to everyone in YouTube land, hello to everyone in Facebook land, hello to everyone in Twitch land, and now hello to everyone in LinkedIn Live. This is JP, this is John Paul Music UK. This live stream is sponsored by DistroKid, which they very kindly said they would sponsor this. And this is Learn to Loop with JP and the Boss RC-600. If there is a link in the description box on most of the channels, which basically, if you click that link, it'll take you to DistroKid. And DistroKid is a music distribution company. So if you make music and you want to put your music out there in the world, you can do. Now, most music distributors, they charge you per release. What DistroKid do is they charge you one price per year. There are some things you can add on, of course, if you want to, but basically one price per year, which is $20. It's $19.99, and with the link in the description, it helps me out if you click it, but also at the same time, you get 7% off your first annual membership if you sign up. So thank you very much to DistroKid for sponsoring the video, and let's get on with the next song. So this song is one of my favorites to play, mainly because I just overdub 1 billion times, and I love doing that because it just creates a wall of lovely, lovely oozy noise. And this is a song by Elbow, which is One Day Like This. Now, it's actually quite a slow song, and again, I'm using 3 loops. A little bit out of tune, but you're all right, aren't you? You okay? You're not offended by that? All right, cool. So this one, basically, again, loop number 1 is always, for me, my drums, my beatboxy, drumsy noises. And then this one takes a little bit longer to set up because I want to get something down first that's actually meant to be used in verse 2, but I don't want to spend the time in between verse 1 and 2 putting it in. Now, you could do either. It's up to you. I know I'm always saying I don't want to hear like people setting up 4 minutes of loops to then start singing, but this one does kind of lean towards that a little bit, but never mind. But this one, basically, I'm still going to show you. So on loop number 1 is basically me going... I will add this in. I'm actually playing it a little bit fast, I've just realised, but it doesn't matter. this is going to be loop number 2. Okay, so we've got our drums, we've got our guitar with a bass line in, so D, 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 you might have heard that. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use a separate effect. And now you can use this on an RC-600, and this is what I want to do. But right now, I've actually got it on the TC Helicon. I'm going to be moving this effect over to the RC-600 probably next week because it's just a really good effect to have. And it's quite simple. As you can hear, it's a big hall. Now, I do actually have a big hall set up already, which should be this one. And that's the actual effect. I'm going to put this over back to the RC-600 so you can see what the hell I'm doing. Sorry. So on input effect number 4, by the way, I've changed these on mode 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is input effect, and track effect 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've done it that way. But input effect number 4 is a big that. Do you know what? I'm going to use it. So we'll turn that on, obviously while it's still playing, of course. And then on track number 3, what I'm going to then do is I'm going to basically be singing what is normally the strings in this song. So let's just play it first, and then I'll add them in. I wouldn't normally have to wait an entire circle to go round to get this done. Just because I've had to stop it and started to tell you guys what I'm doing. So here we go. And yes, live looping, live on stage, and he's made a mistake. Forgot to press the button, didn't I? Anyway. It happens, you just, it's okay. So we've turned loop 3 off. Drinking in the morning sun, shaking out for everyone. Yeah, heavy like a loaded gun. What made me behave that way? Using words I'd never say. Only think it must be love. Now, and anyway, it's looking like a beautiful day. Do you see what I'm doing? Ooh. There we go. So do you see what I'm doing? I'm actually basically, I need to play the D a couple of times. So, and then it's going to go past that point where it's going to go to the G. So I need to actually just play it. So if you listen to the track, it kind of stops and starts anyway. So you can get away with going off. So we're just playing the first part of the loop all the time. Then I'll just go kick all and go, we're in for verse 2, and then this is where the strings would come back in. So. Like a final meal. Harmonies. Holy cow, I love your eyes. Only now do I see the light. And when you half awake, wondering what it is to say, well anyway, it's looking like a beautiful day. And then the third chorus, when my face is chamois creased. Again, I'm just playing, no looper. If you think I winked at it. Cause holy cow, I love your eyes. It's all back in now. Only now do I see the light. Lying with you half awake, wondering what it is to say. Well anyway, looking like a beautiful day. And this is where we change. One day like this year will see me right. So right now what I've done is I'm just playing, I've literally just stopped and then started just loop 1, which is just the beat. I no longer need loop 2 or 3 at all in this song. It changes chords and it stays in that chord change for the rest of the song. So I'm going to delete them, but I'm going to delete them while I'm singing. So I'm just literally, roll those curtains wide. One day like this year will see me right. So you watch, I'm just going to delete one of the loops. I'm going to delete loop 2. It doesn't matter which one. I just need one of them, and I'm not going to play the other one ever again. So I could delete both if I wanted to. But I'm just going to delete one of them, and then I'm going to replace. And yes, all my harmonies are coming through the TC Heligon, but I'm just going to show you what I do with it. So, and crowd in the UK love this song. They go wild for this bit because they all sing it, especially if they've had a pint. So have a listen to this. So. Curtains wide. One day like you will see me right. Oh, those curtains wide. One day like this you will see me right. Oh, those curtains wide. One day like this you will see me right. Oh, those curtains wide. One day like this you will see me right. Holy cow, I love your eyes. Only now do I see the light. Holy cow, I love your eyes. Only now do I see the light. Recording again. Oh, those curtains wide. One day like this you will see me right. Oh, those curtains wide. One day like this you will see me right. Oh, those curtains wide. One day like this you will see me right. Oh, those curtains wide. One day like this you will see me right. Turn off the beat. Oh, those curtains wide. One day like this you will see me right. curtains wide. Turn off the beat. One day like this year will see me right. I love playing that song. I love playing that song because basically you just get to overdub loads of times. It doesn't matter because it becomes an entire choir. And people sing along with it, and it's really, really fun. It's real fun to just play. You notice on loop 3, I don't play that again, because if you play them together, it just sounds weird. All those curtains wide. One day like you could do it, but I don't, because there's a little bit of discordant there. But then that's it. It just plays across. Now, I could use loop number 4. I could turn around and go, turn those 2 off, use loop number 4. I don't have to delete in the moment. So you saw then, I'll just see while I'm playing, all those, for the very first time, curtains wide. You saw I just basically held down on here and then that deleted it. And then when I was at the right moment, I just pressed it, just recorded the loop and just kept going. And the great thing about that is basically you can obviously do it. The alternative you can do as well is I obviously just stop the loop. So let me just play it again. All those curtains wide. One day like this year. Use the expression pedal. All those curtains wide. One day like this year we'll see right. So we could use the expression pedal as well to fade that out. One day like this year we'll see right. Sorry, I'm messing around now. But the idea behind that obviously is that basically you fade it out and it's just left with one man, one guitar, and then you just play the ending, and it's just a really nice thing to do. So I just thought you'd like that, because obviously it's deleting a loop and then adding a loop. Now, I could use loop number 4, could go into different mode and just add loop number 4, but then I've got to go back in to turn the drums on and off. Or I could have the loops set up in such a way basically where I've got literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but then of course I have to double tap to turn them off. And I do have that on memory number 3. So I could do it that way if I wanted to, and then just not use loops 2 and 3. It depends on how you want to do it. So I hope that helps. Cool. I don't have a look at the chat. If you want to speak to me, if you want to ask me a question about the RC-600, now's the time. Will the RC-600 let you sing the bass line at the same time as you're laying down the guitar loop, or is one loop at a time? Or is it one loop at a time? So, Piers, yes. You can basically, it's up to you, but you can assign it. So I've got the bass line there. Now, what you could do is, so you're asking, can I sing the bass line at the same time as I'm laying down the guitar loop? Yes, you could. There's a way to do it. So what you would do is basically you would then just send the bass line straight out and just send it out to the PA. So that bass, you could do that, but then you would need another bass if you want to record the bass. So it's all about routing. You could assign a button to change it so it changes, but from one to the other, you could do it that way. So you could, but it's a bit of a setup. So you could do that. Of course, I could do it that way where I've got a second microphone. So the second microphone is only for looping, and do it that way. So I could obviously record just anything that's on the guitar, but then the second microphone is obviously for bass line. So then if I do that and I go to the other microphone, and I'm singing the bass line there, but then I'm only recording this, you could do it that way. And that's all coming out of one unit. You could do that. I hope that makes sense. I do quite a bit of stuff where I add harmony vocal. Sorry, I read that the wrong way around. I had a vocal harmony every time through a chorus, so by the end of the song, it's built into something enormous. Yeah, that's it. I don't have a harmonizer, and it's so intoxicating. It is intoxicating. It makes it, and the thing is, like, I kind of gauge it from the audience. So if the audience obviously are kind of like properly and absolutely soaking it up, I'll add another one, and I'll add another one, and I'll add like all different harmonies, and I'll add all these different harmonies in. But yeah, it's just a lovely thing, and it's just live performance at the end of the day. Sorry if I've just realised the camera keeps flipping between like a kind of warm look and a cold look, so I apologise about that. I'm going to change my lighting. But yeah, it's done it again. So it's not important, is it? Let's be honest. As long as you can see what I'm doing, that's the main thing. It's better than no lighting. So it's just a great song to play, and it's really, really useful to be able to do that. And then obviously, I just wanted to show you the other thing I did, obviously, with the other part of the loop where I stop and start it just for the G chord, so just for the D chord, sorry. Because, of course, that's really handy because, of course, you don't want the whole loop to go around. You're just playing the first bit of the loop and then stopping it and then just playing the first bit again. And that's just the way that song goes, and that just works really well with that song. And then, yeah, obviously then it's all in for the end with obviously a new loop and then lots and lots of overdubs. So there we go. Hey, Adam. Adam's in there. So, Adam Hill, how are we? Have you got an RC-600 yet? Have you figured out what you need to do? If not, obviously, have you had a look at all the videos? I hope you're well, mate. San Francisco. The Windy. Is it the Windy City? I keep getting confused with San Francisco and another one. Anyway, sounding good, thank you. I'm glad you like it. I can configure Loopy HD to let me record 2 loops at the same time. Just wondering if the RC-600 could do that. Yes, and you mean Loopy Pro? Yeah, Loopy Pro. Yeah, yes, you can. You can obviously do that if you need to, because of course you can route different things to different things. So you can obviously hit record on both, but when it's in sort of single mode, you can't. With multi, yeah, you can do that. Timing has to be so tight, though. Yes, I bet it does. Loopy HD is so last decade. Yes, it is. I do have a tutorial on both. So if you want to have a look at Loopy HD Advanced, and then also my Loopy Pro one as well, it's a bit of more of an overview of how you get started. It was like a getting started with Loopy Pro. Loopy Pro can do so much. There's so much you can do. It's like a blank canvas, really. So I've seen people use it for DJ stuff, like actually just DJing, which is really cool. But then also looping as well. DubFX is now exclusively using Loopy Pro. He's not using any hardware loopers anymore. He said he's stepped away from them. And he's using the Akai APC40 Mark II and Loopy Pro. We did a live stream, which is about 2 hours long, about that, and I've got them, and I kind of hooked them up together just to show you how that works, because one thing Michael Tyson, who is the app developer for Loopy Pro, one thing he did was he worked with a couple of people, including Beardy Man, including DubFX, asking them, what would you want out of this? And one of the major things was, like, make the Akai work. So you plug an Akai APC40 into an iPad or an iPhone running Loopy Pro, it just works. The fader's already pre-programmed. The LCD touch, I'm looking over there because it's over there. The LCD touch knobs basically are the right colors, things like that. Jade, how are we? You okay? Hope we're well. Jade Star, if you don't know who Jade Star is, then where have you been? But if you don't know who Jade Star is, Jade does loads of videos all about different apps. Did one on Loopy. You did one where you actually created a song streamed live, didn't you? That was really interesting. A lot of audience participation input into that one. So yeah, Jade does loads of videos all about basically different apps, as well as things obviously that you can get, I think, predominantly on iOS. I'd probably think that's fair to say, but obviously lots of different apps as well. So go and check out Jade's channel as well. Yeah, so it's all fun and games. Doing great, thank you. Good, excellent. I like this. Yes. So guys, if you have, obviously, we're going to wrap up in around about 10 minutes time because I'm going to do one more song. But before, and explain how I do one more song, my 10 minutes is like 20 minutes, so you know that. You know what I'm like, I ramble. But if you have been finding any kind of like out of this, I've just got 100 messages. Lovely, nice. Thanks, Restream. So 100 different messages on this chat alone. That's really good. So if you have found, obviously, this really handy and really useful, then do me a favor, just for me, basically help me out. The algorithm really, really likes live streams when there's loads of thumbs up on the live stream. So if you're on YouTube right now, give it a thumbs up. If you're on, Facebook or Twitch, just give it a like, because that then pushes it out to more people. It's really, really helpful. So yes, so it's all fun and games. I'm reading the Loopy Pro song on. Oh really? Oh fantastic. Okay, so Jade obviously is doing a live show today and reading the Loopy Pro song on today's show. So go and check out when the live stream. And Jade actually just put it in the chat. When is the live stream? So yeah, like has been smashed. Thank you very much. That's good. Right, I'm just going to change the guitar for the last song. And we've only been doing 4 songs today, and we've been on for 2 hours and 17 minutes. I am missing the Formula One because of you guys. No, I'm joking. I'm not messing. I am, but that's fine because I actually like to do this because hey, it's music, it's fun and games. I'll watch the Formula One later. Don't spoil it for me. Yeah, that's it. I need a switcher so I can plug both of them in and then switch it so I can just go click. I need to do that. That's my next little professional thing. Just a little pedal so I can plug both guitars into that pedal and then that goes into my system so I can just switch it between the two. Oh, Delta, howdy JP. Have you had what was that say? I can't read it. My eyes are going nuts. Have you ever tinkered with a Novation circuit? It's an interesting toy with MIDI sync. No, I actually haven't. I haven't played with a Novation circuit. Okay. One car was faster than the other. Well done, Piers. Thanks for that, mate. You got me. That's funny. Right. If you can hear a distant dog barking in the background, it's not mine, don't worry. We don't have a dog. Right then. Spoilers aside, the last song I'm going to show you how I loop it is Tom Petty. I've been looping this for years, and I looped it on a one-pedal looper. Not the RC-5, not the RC-3, not the RC-1, the Headrush, Akai Headrush E2. Go and Google that after this live stream. The Akai Headrush E2. It's what Katie Tunstall used when she did Black Horse and the Cherry Tree on Jules Holland. Nightmare of a looper. No undo, by the way, and only one input. So you need a mini mixer to go into it. Yeah, fun. Now, Free Fallin' by Tom Petty, of course, is always quite a good song to do. It's 3 chords long, all the way through. But then there's the Tom Petty version, and then there's the other version by... his name's escaped my brain. Yeah, there's another version which basically, I'm going to get killed for this. Please put it in a chat. There's another version by someone who's really famous, and I can't remember his name to save my life. Trying to remember, not happened. Streamer cracked up, mission accomplished. Yeah, thanks, Piers. Thumbs up for that. The more you learn about that later performance, the more impressive it. Yes, if you look at basically, there's an interview with her, with Katie Tunstall. It's somewhere on the internet now. If you look at how she uses that looper, the Akai Headrush E2, she calls it something, the little bar steward, and it's she literally calls it that, and it's a nightmare looper in the sense of what we have today. We are absolutely spoilt today, and I got one, and I was like you had, I think it was like 14 seconds, or was it even 7 seconds? I can't remember. We had like so short and no undo, and you didn't have control of the volume of things going on top of each other. There was a degradation, but like that was about it. And yeah, it's a hard thing to learn, but that's a good thing because that's how I learned looping. I learned looping on that machine. So one of the things like the Boss RC, obviously the 20 and the 20 XL came out, and then the 30 and then everything else. When the 30 came out, that changed the game. It was like, a mic input, lovely. So it was like I can actually plug a mic in and a guitar in at the same time. I could even plug a keyboard in. It was amazing. But if you look at the later with Jules Holland performance of Katie Tunstall's Black Horse and the Cherry Tree, that basically started my looping career. I want to say career, but like my looping journey. And I think it was a lot of people just the jaw. I watched it live. I watched it when it came out on that Friday night, or was it the Friday night or the Saturday night? And I was with my dad, and my jaw just dropped. I was like, "That's what I want. I want that. I want to be able to do that. How is she doing that? How's she doing? Like literally just the claps, just like so we sit halfway through and all that kind of stuff. And so many people played that song with loopers and everything else, and it is a fundamental like birth of live looping. And people don't realize how important that video is, but it's well important. And go and watch it and go and see how she controls it. Just rewind it and look at it intensely and controlling and see how she performs with it, because it's an amazing performance considering that that looper basically was like, yeah, it was also it was more like a tape delay, but it was actually classed as a looper. Not the loopers we have today, but like not the loopers we had in our day. But yeah, it was classed as a looper, but it really was like a tape delay machine. But go and Google it, go and have a look when this live stream has finished. Right, okay. So, Tom Petty Free Falling. So many people have done this in so many different ways. I like to kind of mash the sort of quieter version with the loud version, so it gets really loud at the end. Again, it's one of those ones that, you know, people had a couple of drinks and dancing on tables and kind of things. I like to do it with this because loads of people, it's a sing-along song, you know, Jerry Maguire, that kind of moment. So I kind of loop a 2-bar loop for the drums, for the rhythm. So we're going to do that now. I must say as well, it's one of the rhythms that I kind of stick to all the time. It's like it's just the way I play it. And then I normally hit the bridge. You can't really see that. I hit the bridge of the guitar for a little bit with a kick drum noise, whilst also making a kick drum noise. And then just a little bit of hi-hat. Now, by giving it a little bit of hi-hat, I'm not going, it gives it a little bit more gap, so there's more room for other things. So if I was to just repeat that, if I did it like this, it can actually get a little bit annoying over time. So I don't do it like that. So I'll just undo that. And your brain kind of like fills in the gaps, like there's a hi-hat there somewhere. So there we go. Right, so it literally is. I play this on capo 3 on a normal guitar. So D, G, A. Just suits my voice a bit better. Yeah, exactly, Piers. It's eating up too much space. You can't hear it. It's like a badly formed Drake song. You know, it's like piercing, and then you can't take that away again. Like, obviously you undo it, but like if you kept that in, it's just like it takes away from what you're trying to do. It's meant to be a percussive track. You know, it's not meant to be like a in-your-face track. So yeah, so I agree with you. I think like too much, like it's too much in the kind of like higher range. So then obviously it fiddles with the guitar a little bit. Certainly in the like, yeah, I've already gone, and you got on top as well. So it's a lot of high-end stuff. So yeah. So what I normally do is I normally put the bass down, so I normally will find where my chords are. Now you'll notice that I actually went da-da, and then I hit the button. So I went da-da-da-da-da. Just leads in. Just nice so da-da-da-da-da. Okay. Now, you've got a couple of options here. It depends on what you want to do. How I do it is I actually play all the guitar stuff live. I just use the guitar as a reference to put my loops down. So on the bass, I'll also add some harmonies. verse 1. She's a good girl. She loves her mama, loves Jesus. Stop playing the guitar. In America too. She's a good girl. She's crazy about Elvis, loves horses, and a boyfriend too. Now, yeah. And it's a long day, living in a cedar. There's a freeway running through the yard, and I'm a bad boy. I'm a bad boy, breaking her heart. Okay, so just playing that all the way through, that's it. Now, loop number 3 is actually the chorus. So I'll actually bring that in, but I'll sing the lower notes. Bye! Thank you very much for watching. If you are missing the rest of this and you want to watch it, it's going to be replayed. You said you've got to go, but thank you very much for what you do. Enjoyed listening while I worked. Cool. Oh, cool. You're working and you're listening to me. That's lovely. Thank you so much. But if you obviously want to repeat any of this or watch any of the 4 songs that we've done, then obviously you can go back and watch it a little bit later. Anyway, so now I'm going to bring it back in. So I'm actually going to sing. I wouldn't break at this point. I'm just stopping to talk to you. So obviously I'm going to bring it in. I'm going to play the verse again. Like the last bit of the verse, and then I'll literally just press the button. By the way, for those who've got an RC-600, like, oh, my loops aren't syncing the way yours are, turn on quantize. It's as simple as that. I don't know why it's not on. It should be on from default, but it's not on from default, and you can actually get your loops kind of like coming out of sync a little bit. Matt, if he's still around, will know basically what I'm talking about. Turn on the quantize option, and basically you'll notice when I tap something, it kind of waits until it gets to the end of the bar, and then it kicks in. So I can tap it a little bit early, tap it a little bit late, and it will actually just quantize it, and it's quite useful. Also, these loops are different lengths as well. So anyway, I'm going to show you what I mean. So I'm going to imagine I'm getting towards the end of the verse. I'm going into the chorus. Okay. And I'm free falling. Yes, I'm free falling, yeah. Do you see that? I actually stopped it. Basically I recorded the whole thing, and then what I did is I did a harmony, and then I stopped it before I go into the verse. So I kicked it, so it's like the overdub, stop the overdub, it's still playing, and then I actually stopped the loop before bar 1, beat 1. So then, of course, it's only gone round twice, technically. So then they don't know you've recorded it at that point until they hear the harmony. So the audience don't know you're actually recording right now until they see you press the button. You know what I mean? And then, of course, then we're going to go into back into loop 1 and 2 for the third verse. Now, I'll actually add a little bit more drums in again, just to emphasize it, just a little bit more, and just to give it a little bit more depth. So. Okay, so imagine I'm recording right now, and then it's just free falling, yeah. A bit more energy on the guitar now. Now all the vampires running through the valley, they move west down Venture Boulevard. All the bad boys standing in the shadows, all the good girls alone with broken hearts. Now stop it there. And of course I've already got the bed of me singing Free Falling, the low bit first. So then I'm actually now going to go high. Okay, so imagine I've only stopped this again to talk to you, but basically I'm going to show you what I do. I'm going to turn my harmonies on, and then I'm just going to go mental with it. Okay, so got that drum beat in. So with broken hearts, and I'm free. Yes, I'm free. I'm free falling. Then turn the chorus off on number 3. Now, there's another verse and another chorus. So what we do is I just add a little bit of harmony onto the other one.
Free falling, 'cause I'm free falling. Yes, I'm free falling, 'cause I'm free falling. Yes,
Turn off the drums, okay?
falling, 'cause I'm free falling. Yes,
I wanna glide
down, 'cause I'm
over Mulholland. I wanna write her name in the sky. I wanna free fall down into nothing. I wanna leave this world for a while, 'cause I'm free. Free falling. Yes, I'm free. Free falling. Free. And the thing is, I do change it depending on the audience, but if the audience are way into it, what I'll do is I'll use the volume expression pedal, and obviously that controls all the loops. So then we'll just basically, the free, and then I'll just bring it back in. So I'll drop it out and then bring it back in. So I don't hit hold, start, stop. It just keeps playing, but then of course it kicks back in when you get to the G. So, obviously harmonies on. Free falling. Audience. Sing it. Free. I'm free falling. I'm free falling, falling.
Cause I'm falling, yes,
Free falling. Out of tune. Anyway, so yeah, so that's basically what I do. I kind of mix them together, but then you can always drop it out with the expression pedal and bring it back in again. You could fade it out if you wanted to again, but I kind of turn the loops off individually. So I hope that really helps you. Now, we've gone through 4 different songs today, and on how I loop them on the RC-600. Now, I have obviously changed a couple of things on the RC-600, like I've explained before. Like, for example, this one right here on mode number 1 is the bass. So I've changed things around, and it depends on how you want to do it. And of course, I've got other effects here. So my other effects, basically, if I'll just step it through with them really quickly. So you would have heard this one on Superstition. Okay, this one is the same one that's on mode 1. It's the bass. 1, 2, 3. This one actually I'm using in a couple of different tracks, which is the slicing track. So really, really useful and really cool to play around with, certainly with harmonies. You're recording harmonies in, and while they're underneath something else, they don't realize it's going bat, 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 and you take everything out. You just got those harmonies going da, 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 da. It's really funky. And then input effect number 4 is a really large delay. So yeah, don't know why I sung that. I just decided to. And then track effects wise, basically I've got a couple of different track effects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this for you now, and then I'm just going to play the different track effects. Some of it is a little bit loud, so do apologise for that. I have warned you, because it actually is flanges and things like that, so it does expand on the equalization of the song. So have a listen to this. So we got a beat repeater. Free falling. Not assigned to everything. Free falling. Kind of fun. Free falling. That's a phaser. Got a reverse. Free falling. hear it's not on loop number 3. I can't remember what that one's called. It's like a little bit of a flangey distortion. You can have a little fun with it. It's a good fun. So I just wanted to show you them as well. So that's kind of my loop setup on that one memory. I can pretty much use that one memory, 001 that I call it, all night long. I don't have to use a different memory. If I'm doing obviously stuff that's got really like a sort of verse and a chorus in it, I can use my second memory, which is called single mode. And then what I do is I've actually got the first 2 here as track 1 to, I've actually got track 1 to 6 as opposed to going through the modes. And then these 2 are in multi-mode, so I kind of create those as beats, and then you got like verse, chorus, bridge, whatever you want it to be. So then that way these 2 keep going. So it's like a kind of mixture. I can't remember what they used to call it on the Headrush. It was like a sync. Was it called a sync mode? Where basically you got one track is track 1 is the beats, and then track 2, 3, 4 is like verse, chorus, bridge. So yes, I do it that way. And then I've got another version which is multi-mode, and multi-mode on version 3, which is basically the same again, where all 6 are actually on the front. I don't have to go through different modes. And then you've got the downside there is you've got to double tap to stop the loop. But it means that they're all there, which also means mode 2 is completely free to then obviously put things on if you want to. I actually did do it where mode 2 was just play and stop for each one, so therefore I didn't actually have to double tap. I could go to, once everything's recorded in, I can go to mode 2 and just go play, stop, play, stop, play, stop. It'd never record. And if I wanted to record, I go back to mode 1. And then mode 3 is always been the effects, apart from obviously this button here on mode 1, which I've changed over to the bass. So I'd like to thank you very much for spending almost 2 hours and 40 minutes with me, if you've been with me right from the beginning. Yeah, this live stream is obviously sponsored by DistroKid. So obviously check the link at the basically and the description box as well. And if you've got any questions, obviously have a look at the playlist that I've made. This live stream will go on the playlist as well. All about the RC-600. I've done loads of shorts because people are asking like one question at a time. I was like, oh, we'll do a short about that. So it's a quick like, here's how you do it. 60 seconds. There you go. Or 59 seconds, whatever it is. So I'm not a shorts superstar, but I thought I'd do shorts because then it's actually just let's get to the point, get to what you want to do. And believe me, filming shorts for me, someone who rambles on all day, is quite difficult. So go and have a look at them. Have a look at the original one if you haven't already. And I just want to say thank you very much for joining us on the live stream. And if you haven't already, and you have got some, basically, if you haven't already, give this a thumbs up. It really, really does help me. And if you want to go and purchase an RC-600, there's links there as well. And I don't really know what else to say other than go and enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your weekend. And yeah, I hope that's helpful. Has it been helpful? I hope so. Good stuff as always, says Piers. Thank you very much. Great, says Jonathan. Jonathan, hi. Sorry, I didn't catch you at the beginning. Yeah, I just hope that's helpful. And if you want me to show you how I do more songs, I'll do another live stream about that as well. So without any further ado, I'm going to log off. But thank you very much for coming to the live stream, and have yourselves a great, great day.